And this second skeleton is actually a fire mage. From the looks of it, could he also have wind and lightning skeletons? They're down. I, alone, took down a top 100 professional team. But then, I faced a legendary class, the Pinnacle Swordsman. Turns out, right after I summoned the second skeleton mage, I instantly critically injured one of their archers. The War King support from the Alliance quickly cast a healing spell. And instantly, healing auras appeared on all 5 of them. The injured archer's wounds healed rapidly. Then, they began to attack me. The skeleton mage stepped in front of me, blocking all the incoming arrows. Although the skeleton mage's physique isn't as strong as a skeleton warrior's, compared to these little guys under level 30, it's still much stronger. This level of attack is just a tickle to it. But suddenly, bang, another shock arrow hit the skeleton mage, and the fire skeleton mage was stunned. The lead archer still looked smug. Even though there are 2 skeleton mages, they're still within our control. As long as we take turns controlling his summons, we can still deal with him. But as soon as he finished speaking, his pupils suddenly contracted. Another skeleton mage appeared beside me. This time, a wind skeleton mage. Immediately, the skeleton mage cast a skill, sending a tornado storm toward the War King support. Luckily, the War King support reacted quickly, dodging the fatal blow, but was still grazed by the tornado. Even so, he was severely injured. He quickly cast a healing spell on himself, and as the third shock arrow hit the wind skeleton mage, a fourth skeleton mage appeared, a lightning skeleton mage. The 4 of them were nearly in despair. How are there so many skeletons? Just then, the skeleton mage cast a skill, Thunderstrike. Lightning attacks are extremely fast, making them impossible to dodge. A bolt of lightning struck the War King, instantly killing him. Outside the arena, he looked at me in fear, thinking, if this weren't the arena, I'd be dead right now. Although the last shock arrow stunned the lightning skeleton mage, without the War King support, the 4 archers were in dire straits. Now, with their skills on cooldown, their only chance was to defeat me. Before the stun effect wore off, the lead archer shouted, "Focus all attacks on Lin Moyu." But the next second, 2 more skeleton mages appeared in front of me. Seeing this, the group was stunned. How are there still more? How many skeletons can he summon? Before they could recover from their shock, 2 bolts of lightning struck down, instantly killing 2 archers. The remaining 2 archers were filled with despair. What's the point of fighting? It's impossible. After exchanging a glance, they jumped off the arena. With that, the 1 versus 5 battle came to an end. From start to finish, I only moved my fingers. This level of battle is just too easy for me. The spectators watching the battle could see that my class is indeed powerful. I effortlessly took on 5 opponents, including a support and an archer combo, which was quite impressive. After all, archers are still low level now, with few control skills, but as they level up and gain more control skills, this combo could become a force to be reckoned with. However, most people don't realize that the strength I've shown is just the tip of the iceberg. Although some students at Shajing Academy know, they won't talk about it openly. Since the top 8 will be decided today, there will be 4 matches today. There will be 2 rounds in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, with a 1-hour break in between, to give the professionals time to rest. At this moment, Aik whispered, "Do you know which team we'll face next round?" Zhang Taotao shook her head. Although the Empire said it's random, have you noticed that the strong teams haven't faced each other yet? The strong teams she mentioned were the 5 teams she had inquired about earlier, and these teams have been dominating from the start, crushing their opponents with absolute superiority every time. But these strong teams have never faced our team. Clearly, there's some pattern to this randomness. Soon, the list for the second round of matches was announced. Aik couldn't help but laugh when she saw our opponent. It's that arrogant guy. It was Tang Jianfei's team, the one we encountered during the preliminaries. Back then, Tang Jianfei's smug face was unforgettable. When I checked his information, I finally understood why he was so arrogant. Turns out, he's a legendary class divine swordsman, and he's already reached level 29. After all, since I started my profession, the number of legendary class professionals I've met can be counted on one hand. There's the Onmyoji from Sakura country, Todoro Higashi, the holy knight Zhou Lisheng, the sacred summoner Mo Yu, and my sister, Lin Mohan. He's the 5th. His divine swordsman class is likely a strong offensive type, so his combat strength should be formidable. Soon, the match time arrived. I walked onto the arena alone, while Zhang Taotao and the others stayed behind, watching from below. On the other side, Tang Jianfei led his team onto the stage. All 5 of them wore matching outfits, and their auras were strikingly similar. It seemed they often trained together, so their teamwork would be seamless. But then, Tang Jianfei frowned as he looked at me. "Just you?" I nodded in response. "Dealing with you, I'm enough alone." Hearing this, Tang Jianfei wasn't angry. Instead, he turned to his teammates and said quietly, "You guys step down. I'll face him one-on-one." Without hesitation, his teammates jumped off the arena. This team battle instantly turned into a duel between him and me. This move made me see him in a new light. Though he's arrogant, he's undeniably principled. Perhaps, as a legendary class professional, he has his own pride, and disdains ganging up on others. Then, Tang Jianfei drew his sword, and said calmly, "I originally wanted to face you in the singles match. But it seems we're ahead of schedule. I've watched your last 2 matches. Your skeletons are impressive, but they're useless against me. You're destined to lose." I smiled faintly. "You're not bad." My tone sounded like an elder praising a junior, which instantly infuriated Tang Jianfei. "I don't need your approval. At this moment, our duel attracted the attention of countless spectators. Lin Moyu is strong, but a legendary class professional is no weakling either, especially since he's a genius from the Tang family of the Northwest. They're a divine swordsman family, producing a divine swordsman in almost every generation. I've read about divine swordsmen before, even among legendary class professionals. They rank in the top tier. A divine swordsman isn't scary, but one who has mastered all their skills is terrifying. Their abilities are monstrous. What will happen when these two clash? We might witness an epic battle. At this moment, everyone was curious about who would win. As the referee announced the start of the match, skeleton mages instantly appeared by my side, while Tang Jianfei's sword was instantly enveloped by two glowing rings. The rings of light spun around the sword, radiating a dazzling brilliance. The audience gasped, in shock. He's truly mastered the divine swordsman's skills. Those are star rings. At level 29, he has 2 star rings. Each ring contains a top-tier skill. It's said that a divine swordsman who masters 9 star rings at level 90 is nearly invincible. One spectator shouted excitedly, it's starting, their battle has begun. The skeleton mage instantly cast a skill, Thunderstrike. A bolt of lightning struck down from above, but Tang Jianfei didn't dodge. A star ring on his sword exploded, and when the lightning struck him, it dissipated like mud sinking into the sea, leaving no trace. Tang Jianfei laughed. This is my first skill, elemental immunity. For 10 minutes, I'm immune to all elemental attacks, so your skeleton mage's attacks are useless against me. I hope you can last these 10 minutes. With that, he charged at me. His speed was incredible. As a legendary class professional, all his stats surpass those of ordinary professionals. Even without buffs, he's still formidable. The audience began to murmur among themselves. Tang Jianfei's skill makes him immune to elemental attacks. Lin Moyu's skeleton mages are basically useless now. As Tang Jianfei said, if Lin Moyu wants to win, he'll have to last 10 minutes. But surviving 10 minutes under a divine swordsman's blade is nearly impossible. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. My skeleton warriors and mages appeared together for the first time in the tournament, stunning the entire audience. Originally, I had planned to end the battle with my skeleton mages, but unexpectedly, his skill made him immune to all elemental attacks, and the effect lasted for 10 minutes. The spectators immediately thought I was doomed. After all, surviving 10 minutes against a divine swordsman is nearly impossible. Even Tang Jianfei believed I couldn't do it. He stepped forward with a sword stance, charging at me like the wind. But just as he was about to strike, a chilling sensation swept over him. A sense of extreme danger overwhelmed him. Trusting his instincts, he quickly retreated, and the moment he stepped back, a blade of crimson light grazed past him. The blade struck the arena, causing the entire platform to tremble. The sheer power of the strike was evident. Tang Jianfei gasped, if that had hit me, I'd be done for. Many who witnessed this were once again shocked. What kind of summon is that? A skeleton wielding a blade? Not only can it use skills, but its power is immense. Tang Jianfei broke into a cold sweat, then suddenly laughed. I can't underestimate you after all. This must be your trump card, right? A skeleton with a blade? Let's see how strong it really is. Tang Jianfei, still brimming with arrogance, charged forward again. At the same time, the skeleton warrior swung its twin blades to meet him. But the skeleton warrior's stats far surpassed his, making it much faster. To Tang Jianfei, it was like a bolt of lightning, appearing in front of him in an instant. The blade came crashing down. So fast, Tang Jianfei exclaimed. His sword glowed brightly, as he activated a skill, Blade Barrier. With this skill, he could perfectly block all attacks, and even repel his enemies. No matter how fast the skeleton warrior's attacks were, he could block them. With a loud bang, Tang Jianfei was sent flying by the immense force, and the skeleton warrior was also knocked back. Incredible strength. Tang Jianfei broke into another cold sweat. Its speed and strength far surpassed his own. At this moment, the skeleton warrior charged again. Tang Jianfei snorted coldly. The second star ring on his sword exploded with a loud bang. Instantly, all his attributes increased tenfold. This was his trump card skill, Frenzied Blade. For 5 minutes, all his attributes would increase tenfold. The effect was similar to a berserker's rage, but the attribute boost was even stronger, and it didn't affect his rationality. Legendary class professions were fundamentally different from rare class professions. The gap in skill strength was immense. Skills like this were simply unattainable for rare class professions. Tang Jianfei activated his skill, Dragon Strike. He shot forward like a dragon, slamming into the skeleton warrior. The skeleton warrior was instantly sent flying. Moreover, this skill had a control effect, leaving the skeleton warrior in a paralyzed state for 30 seconds. After knocking back the skeleton warrior, Tang Jianfei charged at me like lightning. With his attributes increased tenfold, his speed was significantly faster than before. Seeing this, the audience covered their eyes. It's over. It's over. Lin Moyu's skeleton warrior is immobilized. His skeleton mages are useless against the divine swordsman. He's really done for this time. But as soon as they finished speaking, 2 more shadows appeared in front of me. 2 more skeleton warriors. The next second, they swung their blades at Tang Jianfei. Seeing this, Tang Jianfei immediately cancelled his skill, staring at me in disbelief. How many skeletons do you have? I chuckled. Guess. Tang Jianfei snorted coldly, his face full of defiance. Guess my ass. Don't think 2 more skeleton warriors will change anything. I still have plenty of skills I haven't used. With that, he assumed a fighting stance again. His sword glowed brightly, gathering terrifying energy. Seeing this, I immediately realized He was preparing a powerful skill. I slowly raised my hand, and 5 more skeleton warriors appeared. Then, 7 skeleton warriors lined up in a row. Instantly, the entire arena was enveloped in an eerie atmosphere. Even Tang Jianfei couldn't help but shiver. This directly caused his charging skill to be interrupted, and he almost choked on his breath. Coughing, he cursed, "Are you running a skeleton shop or something? Why do you have so many skeletons?" I chuckled. "Still want to fight?" Tang Jianfei snorted. "Fight my ass. I'll fight you again after I reach level 40 and undergo my second class advancement." With that, he jumped off the arena, choosing to forfeit. After all, 1 skeleton warrior was hard enough to deal with, and 2 were already his limit. Now, with 7 appearing at once, there was no way he could win. If he kept fighting, he'd likely be hacked to pieces. Tang Jianfei was arrogant, but he wasn't stupid. Lin Moyu had won again. The audience outside the arena erupted in cheers once more. It's not that Tang Jianfei was weak, his skills were definitely strong. It's just that Lin Moyu was too powerful. No, it's his skeletons that are too strong. At the same time, a question arose in everyone's minds. Just how many skeletons did Lin Moyu have? So far, he had only shown 8 skeleton warriors and 6 skeleton mages, totaling 14. Some speculated he might have 20, with 10 skeleton warriors and 10 skeleton mages. Others guessed this was already his limit. Little did they know, this was just the tip of the iceberg. As this match concluded, the 2 matches in the afternoon didn't present any challenging opponents. Once again, a single skeleton mage swept through the competition. After the afternoon matches ended, the list of 8 teams advancing to the finals was announced. The 5 teams Zhang Taotao had mentioned were all there, along with 2 others, from Shaojin Academy and Zhendin Academy. Among the 8 teams advancing to the finals, the Shenxia Empire alone had 3 teams in each group. Although the number of participating teams varied initially, after today, only 8 teams remained to advance to the finals. As the sun set, the competition venue was once again shrouded in darkness, blocking everyone's view. At this moment, 8 looked at me and asked softly, "Tomorrow, the team finals will conclude, and then the singles matches will begin. According to past conventions, there will also be a challenge match. Will you participate?" The challenge match allows lower-level professionals to challenge higher-level professionals. Winning would grant generous rewards, and the greater the level gap, the better the rewards. However, the specific rewards haven't been announced yet, but they're sure to be impressive. I told her that I had to participate. Even Bai Shen himself had told me to join the challenge match and aim as high as possible. Hearing this, a trace of worry appeared on Ake's face. "You've performed so well that you've already attracted a lot of attention. Today, I heard everyone talking about you, saying you have a bright future and are a leading figure among the younger generation. Some even said, you might become a god-level powerhouse in the future, a pillar of the Shenxia Empire." I had heard many of these comments as well. Some people even treated me with noticeable respect, almost reverence. But what Ake wanted to say wasn't about this. She bit her lip and said, "I'm a bit worried. In previous years, the Shenxia Empire also produced a few top-tier geniuses, though not as strong as you. They were still very impressive, but they were all assassinated during trials. I'm afraid you might follow in their footsteps." I smiled and said, "I know about that. It even made the news back then. Don't worry, I'm aware of the risks." Ake sighed. "Just be careful, okay? After all, you're only level 27 now, not even at the second advancement yet." Seeing her worried expression, I quickly reassured her that I would be careful. Though I said this, a cold glint flashed in my eyes. This was the killing intent I had accumulated from slaying demons and humans alike. In my heart, I hoped to lure out the hidden snakes and eliminate them myself, avenging my fallen Shenxia compatriots. Unless it was a top-tier professional above level 70, they posed no fatal threat to me. It's over. It's over. My hidden strength had finally been revealed, even if just the tip of the iceberg. Yet, even the most basic control skill sent chills down the spines of everyone present. After my duel with the Divine Swordsman concluded, the next day marked the beginning of the final matches. Suddenly, a spectator pointed to the sky and shouted, "Look! What's that?" 3 glowing orbs appeared in everyone's sight, each containing a golden chest. Beside each chest was a faint purple potion and a radiant skill scroll. It was obvious that the chests were filled with gold coins. In the lower tier competition's 3 groups, the champions' rewards were the same for each group. 50 million gold coins, a bottle of Chuji Xian Qi Yao Shui, primary miracle potion, and a Chuji Ji Nenwan Zhou, primary skill scroll. The 3 orbs floated in the air, announcing to all participants that the prizes were here. If you want them, prove your worth. The professionals below stared at the prizes, their eyes filled with greed, as if these treasures were already theirs. I, however, merely glanced at them, and then looked away. If I wanted to see them, I'd take my time once I won them. Soon, the day's matches officially began. Our team was up first, and as usual, I was the only one to step onto the stage. Once again, I stood alone. Ake and the others remained in the audience, watching from below. Zhang Taotao whispered, "This time, we've drawn the team from Sakura Country. They seem quite strong. Their leader is named Neko, and her class is the Sakura Country's unique Divine Beast Priestess. This class is extremely mysterious, with very little information recorded in the Empire's archives. Although it's not a legendary class, it's said to be quite bizarre." The Sakura Country team stepped onto the arena, with Neko leading the way, dressed in traditional Sakura attire. Behind her stood a knight, 2 archers and 2 mages. "Greetings, Mr. Lin Moyu of the Shenxia Empire." Neko bowed slightly, appearing very polite, but I completely ignored her. This was because I had long-standing conflicts with Sakura countries on my OG, and I was well aware of their hypocrisy. Seeing that I didn't respond, she took 2 steps forward and said in a low voice, "I'm very interested in your class, Mr. Lin. If you're willing to join our country, I can fulfill any request you have." Any man would understand the implications of her words. I had to admit, she was beautiful, radiating an astonishing charm. In terms of appearance alone, she was on par with any woman I had ever seen, but my eyes only showed disgust. Get lost. Hearing this, Neko didn't seem offended at all. "Mr. Lin, please consider it carefully," she said before retreating to her team. Knight and her team stepped forward, his towering figure shielding Neko completely. If I wanted to attack her, I'd have to defeat the knight first. As the referee announced the start of the match, 2 skeleton mages instantly appeared by my side. The skeleton mages immediately used elemental skills, but at the same time, a phantom figure appeared above the Sakura country team. A human-faced, snake-bodied flying creature. At first, I thought it was the corpse god I had seen before. But upon closer inspection, it wasn't. This phantom opened its jagged mouth and devoured all the attacks from the skeleton mages. A soft laugh echoed. "This is our Sakura country's human-faced snake god. It can devour any elemental attack. So, your skeleton mages' attacks are useless against us." But I wasn't surprised. Any team that made it to the finals would have some tricks up their sleeves. They wouldn't be easily dealt with. If elemental attacks were ineffective, then I'd try physical attacks. 5 skeleton warriors instantly appeared, charging forward with eerie cracking sounds. At that moment, another phantom appeared above the Sakura country team, a bull-like monster. Skill, Divine Possession, as Neko chanted. The bull-like monster merged into the knight's body. The knight's eyes glowed red, and his aura surged dramatically. With a roar that sounded like a beast, he activated his skill. Group Provocation. Instantly, the skeleton warriors were forced to redirect their attacks toward the knight. The possessed knight didn't retreat. Instead, he charged at the skeleton warriors with a skill. With a loud bang, the knight was knocked back, and the skeleton warriors paused briefly before continuing their charge. Neko's face showed shock. Mr. Lin's skeletons are truly impressive. Even a knight possessed by a god was pushed back. As she spoke, light flickered in her palm. Skill, Possession Enhancement. The knight's aura surged again, as if he had been buffed with multiple enhancements. He launched another fierce attack against the skeleton warriors. For a moment, he managed to hold off all 5 skeleton warriors by himself. This showed just how mysterious the Divine Beast Priestess class was. Gods she summoned could not only exist independently, but also merge with the professionals, becoming one with them. This made them even more formidable, greatly enhancing the professionals' strength. Many top-tier professionals in the audience were visibly impressed by Neko's skills. If such skills could be used on them, wouldn't they become even stronger? Some were already considering approaching Neko after the match to discuss collaboration. Watching the skeleton warriors frantically attacking under the provocation skill, Neko chuckled softly. It seems Mr. Lin's summons aren't very obedient. Hearing this, I smiled faintly. That's just because I haven't commanded them yet. With a thought, the skeleton warriors Wai Gong Chi Shi immediately turned their attention and charged toward Neko. No matter how the knight used his provocation skill, the skeleton warriors remained unaffected. Seeing this, Neko's expression changed drastically. She deeply regretted provoking me earlier. She chanted again, Divine Possession. The snake-bodied god transformed into a stream of light and quickly merged into the mage's body. The mage suddenly raised his head, and a brilliant light burst from his body, instantly knocking back all the skeleton warriors. Neko then used another skill. Above her head, a spider-like deity appeared. Skill, Divine Possession. She chanted once more, and in an instant, the spider deity merged into another mage. The mage's eyes glowed red as he raised his staff, and a gentle breeze began to blow. Skill, Wind Shackles. Shackles appeared on the skeleton warriors, immobilizing them in place. Neko breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Mr. Lin, elemental attacks are useless, and your skeleton warriors are immobilized. Do you have any other tricks up your sleeve? If not, you're about to lose. At that moment, the knight charged toward me. In everyone's eyes, I was just a summoner. If a powerful knight got close to me, I would be doomed. Even if I summoned the remaining 3 skeleton warriors, they would still be controlled by the enemy mages, and the situation wouldn't change. Many believed I was truly finished this time. Neko's face was already adorned with a victorious smile. Suddenly, the arena was bathed in red light. Neko's smile froze on her face. My palm glowed with a dazzling red light. Skill, Slow Curse. Neko, the knight, and even the mages and archers all had red shackles appear above their heads. A 40-fold speed reduction. The knight's movements slowed to a crawl. I walked past him leisurely, heading straight for Neko. The knight struggled to turn around, but his movements were painfully slow. Neko, seeing me approach, was filled with panic but couldn't react in time. The audience was stunned. What's happening? Why isn't Neko's team moving? A man nearby figured it out. They've been cursed. Their speed has been reduced by dozens of times. This Lin Moyu is terrifying. Not only can he summon skeletons, but he's also a curse mage. At this moment, another layer of my professional skills was revealed. Neko's eyes were filled with fear. She wanted the mage to use a skill to push me away. But casting the skill required hand seals. At their current speed, it would take over a minute to complete the seals. Facing the terrified Neko, I showed nothing but disdain. I summoned another skeleton warrior, who immediately used its skill, Frenzied Strike. The skeleton warrior unleashed a devastating blow. The match was as good as over. In the next second, Neko's figure appeared outside the arena. This marked yet another victory for me. It's over. It's over. The nemesis of my hidden class, the Necromancer, has finally appeared. After defeating the Sakura Country team, the second match of the quarterfinals pitted the British team against the Zhendon Academy team from the Shenxia Empire. Although all 5 members of the British team were rare class professionals, with no legendary class professionals among them, they had made it to the finals. For a reason, Zhang Taotao explained. Their strength far surpasses that of other professionals at the same level. For example, a level 29 Shadow Knight from our side is no match for the British Shadow Knight. The gap isn't small. It's a complete domination. Ake seemed to recall something. I remember that Britain conducted some experiments a few years ago, developing a new type of enhancement potion. It's said to increase a professional's attributes several times over. When rare class professionals take this potion, they can rival legendary class professionals. Perhaps Britain has successfully developed this new potion. Ake looked at me with concern. Be careful. I smiled and assured her it was fine, because I believed that even if their attributes increased several times, they still couldn't surpass my skeleton warriors. After all, with my talents enhancement, my skeleton warriors' attributes were boosted by 30 times. But to everyone's surprise, the British team, which had been dominating their opponents, lost this time. They lost to Zhendon Academy's legendary class Divine Eye Archer. It turned out that the British potion had a major flaw. It caused the team to lose their rationality in battle. Facing the Divine Eye Archer's powerful skill, Destruction Arrow, they simply charged forward recklessly, without dodging the attacks. Meanwhile, in the courtyard of Zhendon Academy, Ling Tyran spoke calmly. The British have failed. Old Meng chuckled. I've always said you can't have your cake and eat it too. Even the Berserker's rage skill comes at a cost, but they tried to break the limits with a potion, sacrificing their rationality. In my eyes, it's just a joke. He spoke with certainty. When Britain first started researching the potion, he had already predicted this outcome. Now, the facts proved his judgment correct. Bai Shen, who shared Old Meng's views, also looked down on Britain. But that divine beast priestess from Sakura Country is quite interesting. Old Meng snorted. Interesting? It's useless. It's just a variant of the Onmyoji class. Their so-called gods are just corpse spirits. You know what corpse spirits are, right? Old Meng, being traditional and steady, had no respect for such professions. In his eyes, both the British potion and Neko's class were garbage. This wasn't arrogance. When it came to understanding professions, no one dared claim to know more than him. At this moment, Bai Shen's eyes flashed with killing intent. If those guys are going to make a move, it'll likely be in the next few days. You'd better keep an eye out. Old Meng nodded. Don't worry, I've already prepared. Ling Tyran was confused. What are you talking about? Bai Shen didn't hide it. He explained how they were using me as bait. Ling Tyran jumped up in shock. You're using Lin Moyu as bait? But my granddaughter is with him. If anything happens to her, I'll never forgive you. Bai Shen waved his hand. Relax, we've already prepared. Besides, Lin Moyu isn't the only bait. His sister, Lin Mohan, is also part of the plan. The old man is waiting too. Old Meng said sternly. Sit tight. Don't ruin the carefully planned operation. We'll definitely protect your granddaughter. Ling Tyran reluctantly agreed. Meanwhile, the finals were still ongoing. The Vatican's Holy Jade team clashed with Zhendon Academy's team. The arena was bathed in blinding light, making it hard to keep one's eyes open. The entire arena turned into a miniature sun. Within the light, the Vatican's professionals were eliminated one by one. They didn't even know how they were eliminated. It was over in a flash of light. Zhang Taotao explained. His name is Su Sheng, a legendary class Holy Light Mage. He's already been accepted into the Genesis Academy. He was supposed to reach level 32 months ago, but he deliberately held back for this tournament. He said his goal is to win the championship and secure the primary skill scroll. He's been dominant in every match, often eliminating opponents with a single skill. This time was no different. Soon, all members of the Vatican's Holy Jade team were eliminated. Su Sheng stood on the arena, his figure glowing with white light. His gaze swept across the audience, and when his eyes landed on me, a flicker of disgust appeared in his eyes. As a Holy Light Mage, his sacred attributes clashed with my undead summoning class. This instinctive aversion was due to our opposing professions. In the final match of the first round, the Holy Jade team faced the Holy Poison team. Both sides were evenly matched, exchanging blows back and forth. The battle lasted a full 10 minutes before the Holy Jade team emerged victorious by a narrow margin. Now, only 4 teams remained in the level 20 bracket. My team, Zhendon Academy's official team led by Su Sheng, Zhendon Academy's official team, and the Star Warriors team from the Holy Jade faction. I was matched against the Holy Jade team, while Zhendon Academy faced Zhendon Academy. Zhang Taotao shared the information she had gathered. Star Warrior class is strong, with balanced attributes. Their attacks combine both elemental and physical damage. They also possess the Star Armor skill, which provides high defense against both elemental and physical attacks. Overall, this class has no obvious weaknesses, but I wasn't concerned. No matter how strong their attributes were, they couldn't surpass my skeleton warriors. As long as they lacked control skills, they stood no chance against my skeleton warriors in a direct fight. I stepped onto the arena alone, while the Holy Jade team's 5 members followed. Their team consisted of 4 Star Warriors and 1 War King support. The leader looked at me with determination. We know you're strong, but we're not weak either. Our star armor skill can greatly reduce damage, allowing us to ignore your skeleton warriors and attack you directly. A mere mage like you won't last more than 2 seconds against us. Even your curse skills won't work on us. We're immune to curses. They were brimming with confidence, as if the outcome was already decided. As the referee announced the start of the match, the War King's support quickly buffed the team. Then, the 4-star warriors charged at me like lightning. A golden aura enveloped their bodies. This was their star armor skill, greatly enhancing their defense, and reducing both elemental and physical damage. As they closed in, I simply raised my hand. The arena was instantly bathed in red light, and red shackles appeared above their heads. Their speed slowed dramatically. But then their golden auras flared, and the star armor expanded, cracking the red shackles. Although the shackles weren't completely broken, their effectiveness was greatly reduced. The star warriors pressed on, their confidence unshaken, but I remained calm, knowing that my skeleton warriors would soon turn the tide. Seeing this, I immediately understood why they claimed to be immune to curses. Their star armor skill inherently resisted curses, similar to my skeleton armor. As the star warriors closed in, ready to attack me, their vision suddenly went dark. A massive blade swung toward them, but they were prepared. They dodged the attack, and launched a counterattack from the side. However, in the next moment, a series of loud explosions echoed. All 4-star warriors were sent flying like cannonballs. Once they regained their footing, they saw what had happened. 20 skeleton mages had formed a circle, protecting me in the center. There was no gap to exploit. To attack me, they would have to break through the combined defense of skeleton warriors and mages. This situation exceeded their expectations. Before they could react, the skeleton mages' attacks rained down. The arena was filled with lightning and thunder, and the star warriors suffered fatal damage. If it had been just one skeleton mage's attack, they could have withstood it using their star armor and the War King's healing. But the combined damage from 10 skeleton mages was far beyond what they could endure. Their star armor shattered instantly, and the next moment, they were ejected from the arena. Their faces were pale, having just boasted about defeating me, only to lose so decisively. The referee announced my victory, and I advanced to the finals. This outcome was expected by everyone. When I summoned 20 skeletons, the audience knew I had already won. Here it comes, the final showdown between me and my destined rival, the Holy Light Mage. The battle finally began. Just as everyone thought I would lose to Su Sheng, I revealed another skill, completely shattering the Holy Light Mage's pride. After increasing the number of summoned skeletons to 20, I easily defeated the Holy Jade team. The audience erupted in cheers for me, with some even boasting. I told you he had 20 skeletons, wasn't I right? With just one person, he can rival an entire team. I wonder how the solo competitors will fare against him. And so far, he's only shown 3 skills. What if he has more? The others won't stand a chance. At that moment, Su Sheng's team stepped onto the arena, followed by Zhendin Academy's team. The Holy Light Mage and the Divine Eye Archer, 2 legendary class professionals, were about to face off in an epic duel. Su Sheng's gaze was cold and arrogant. My Holy Light Mage is ranked in the top 5 among legendary combat classes. Your Divine Eye Archer doesn't even make the top 10. How do you expect to beat me? Lu Shenren's expression turned serious. He knew Su Sheng was right. Even among legendary combat classes, there were significant differences in strength. Lu Shenren replied coldly, true strength can only be determined through battle. But Su Sheng snorted, do we even need to fight? I'm only talking to you because you're also a legendary class professional. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even bother speaking. Su Sheng had every reason to be arrogant. He had dominated every match, defeating opponents with a single skill. In his eyes, only fellow legendary class professionals were worthy of his attention. As the barrier around the arena activated, the battle officially began. Su Sheng raised his hand slightly, and the arena was instantly bathed in blinding light. It was the same attack he had used throughout the tournament. No one had been able to withstand it. In fact, most didn't even know how they lost. Within the light, Zhendin Academy's team members were eliminated one by one, appeared outside the arena. Finally, even Lu Shenren was ejected from the arena. From the start of the match to its conclusion, it took less than 10 seconds. The audience was stunned. Even Lu Shenren, a fellow legendary class professional, had lost. And he had lost so decisively. He didn't even know how he had been defeated. Su Sheng looked down at Lu Shenren with disdain. I told you the gap between us is huge. Then he turned to me. Your turn. I don't need a break. Do you need one, or shall we finish this quickly? So I can go rest? If it weren't for the primary skill scroll, I wouldn't have bothered with this boring tournament. Su Sheng didn't take me seriously at all. In fact, he didn't take any other professionals seriously. Even his 4 teammates were just there to fill the team quota. They didn't need to lift a finger. At this moment, a referee approached me. Su Sheng has challenged you to an immediate match. Do you wish to proceed now? Or would you prefer to rest first? I replied without hesitation. Let's do it now. The sooner we finish, the better. Although I still hadn't figured out the nature of Su Sheng's skill, my skeleton armor wasn't just for show. No matter what skill he used, he'd have to break through my skeleton armor first. After all, my skeleton armor could even withstand the death ray of the Flame Demon King. A level 29 professional skill was nothing in comparison. I stepped onto the arena, and Su Sheng said something to his teammates, who quickly jumped off the stage. Then he looked at me with a mocking smile. I know you're also from Zhendin Academy. I've heard about what you've been doing there. carrying people through dungeons to earn points. How pathetic. Ordinary students will always be ordinary. It's truly disappointing. Su Sheng's eyes were filled with disdain, and my expression darkened. You can be arrogant, but don't think you can lecture me. Who do you think you are? Su Sheng's voice grew colder. Words are meaningless. Only strength matters. I ignored him. Perhaps his legendary class status had gone to his head. The only way to deal with him was to crush him underfoot. As the battle began, 5 skeleton warriors instantly appeared in front of me. Su Sheng sneered. Undead creatures of the necromantic realm, face the judgment of holy light. The arena was once again bathed in blinding light, turning into a pure white sphere. Within the light, my skeleton armor flickered, indicating it was under attack. The attacks came from all directions, making them impossible to dodge. Even the best knight couldn't block them all. But within the light, I sensed a familiar energy. Mental attacks. This energy was similar to the aura of my soul flame. So Su Sheng had been using mental attacks all along, knocking out his opponents without them even realizing it. Unfortunately for him, such attacks were still within the defensive range of my skeleton armor. Su Sheng, maintaining his arrogant demeanor, kept one hand controlling the light, while raising the other high. Skill. Light blade. A massive blade of light descended toward me. The blade was imbued with the power of light, moving so fast that it struck me almost instantly. The Holy Light Mage's status as a legendary class professional, and one of the strongest at that, was due to his ability to perform mental attacks and manipulate light. But my skeleton armor was unshakable. When his light blade struck it, it didn't even leave a scratch. Su Sheng frowned slightly. The durability of my skeleton armor far exceeded his expectations. His blade of light has always been unstoppable. Just now, Lu Shenren, a fellow legendary and professional, also fell to the attack of the blade of light. He never expected that I could actually withstand it. At this moment, 5 skeletons rushed towards Su Sheng with a clattering sound. The skill Furious Strike instantly erupted. Holy Light is merely a mental attack, and it has no effect on skeletons without flesh or soul. It is utterly useless. Clearly, Su Sheng also realized that his mental attack was ineffective against them, so he shouted, Holy Light Impact. Then, a denser light appeared in front of him, carrying a strong aura of sanctity. With a loud bang, it exploded, instantly blasting the 5 skeleton warriors away. But I could sense that the skeleton warriors hadn't suffered much damage. The power of holy light and the undead force of the skeletons are mutually restraining forces, but which one restrains the other depends on the strength of their respective attributes. The attributes of the skeleton warriors far surpassed Su Sheng's, though his skill couldn't deal much damage to the skeleton warriors. It was only the forced knockback effect of the skill, similar to a control skill, that sent the skeleton warriors flying. Su Sheng still carried his arrogance, believing that holy light could suppress darkness, and that undead creatures should be purified and destroyed by holy light. But the next second, the skeleton warriors quickly got up after falling, with every bone in their bodies intact. They were completely unharmed. Su Sheng couldn't believe it. As he prepared to attack again, a loud boom echoed, and 2 bolts of lightning struck him from above. Su Sheng trembled violently. His skill instantly interrupted. The white light enveloping the arena also disappeared. People could now see what was happening on the arena. Su Sheng was covered in black smoke. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel surprised. As expected of a legendary professional, his attributes were indeed stronger than those of ordinary professionals. Even with the frail physique of a mage, he could withstand 2 attacks from the skeleton mage without being eliminated. Su Sheng now looked disheveled, his body trembling. The electric spell's attack was not easy to endure. Gritting his teeth, he activated another skill, and a pure white magic shield appeared around him. The skill Holy Light Shield. This was the first time he had used a defensive skill. I admit I underestimated you, but before he could finish, the skeleton warriors had already charged at him. The skill Furious Strike instantly erupted, easily tearing through his Holy Light Shield, just as the blade was about to strike him. At the critical moment, a pure white ring of light exploded in his hand, sending the skeleton warriors flying again. Su Sheng was about to speak, when 2 more bolts of lightning struck him. This time, he couldn't hold on, and he was instantly teleported outside the arena. The arrogance in his expression was now mixed with disbelief. He couldn't believe he had lost, and to a rookie he had looked down upon. The audience erupted in cheers, shouting, He won! He won! Lin Muyu actually won. The legendary Holy Light Mage, a master of his craft, was also defeated by him. People marveled at my strength. But a question lingered in their minds. Why had Su Sheng's skill, which had been unstoppable since the start of the match, failed against me? Outside the arena, Su Sheng looked at me and said, This time, you win. When we both become high-level professionals, we'll compete again. Then, I'll show you how strong I truly am. With that, he turned and left the competition venue without looking back. It's over, it's over. The mysterious organization hidden in the shadows has finally revealed itself, and their target is all the champion teams from this competition, including me and my sister, Lin Mohan. It turns out, right after I defeated my fated rival, the Holy Light Mage, the preliminary matches in all 3 categories of the competition, the final results were announced, except for the 10 to 19 level category, which was won by Zhendan Academy. The champions of the 20 and 30 level categories were both claimed by Shaojing Academy. This further proved that the Shenxia Empire is one of the most powerful empires in the world. Smaller nations simply cannot compete with the Shenxia Empire. Next came the award ceremony. A powerful professional appeared in midair. The aura he naturally exuded made many people feel an intense sense of suffocation. What a terrifying aura. This person must be at least level 80, a top-tier professional. Such individuals are rarely seen in ordinary times. Professionals below level 40 are considered low-level professionals. Those between levels 40 and 69, after completing their second advancement, are called high-level professionals. Finally, those above level 70, who have completed their third advancement, are known as top-tier professionals. Top-tier professionals above level 70 are extremely rare. Out of 100 professionals, only one might reach this level. After level 70, each level up brings a massive increase in attributes, so they are further categorized. Levels 70 to 79 are called top-tier professionals. Levels 80 to 89 are called elite professionals, and those who reach level 90 are known as god-tier professionals. God-tier professionals are exceedingly rare. Even the mighty Shenxia Empire has only a few. They are like the pinnacle of a pyramid, serving as a sharp blade that pierces the heart of the abyss demons, holding up the sky for humanity. Figures like Bai Yiyuan and Meng Anwen are god-tier professionals, the pillars of the Shenxia Empire and all of humanity. Such individuals rarely appear in public. Ordinary people can only see them in records or textbooks. The elite professional before us, who is above level 80, is already considered a high-ranking figure. Even the arrogant Su Sheng, upon seeing him, had to put away his pride. Even with his status as a legendary professional, he couldn't guarantee he would reach level 80. Many legendary professionals struggle after their third advancement, each step forward requiring immense effort. Having a professional above level 80 present the awards was already a great honor. His aura gradually subsided, and his Wei Yan, dignified, gaze swept over the three champion teams. You all have done well. The future is bright for you. Hearing this, everyone looked both honored and surprised. To receive praise from such a figure was truly a cause for celebration. However, I remained calm. Having interacted with god-tier professionals like Bai Shen and Meng Lao, I found elite professionals to be less impressive. At this moment, the man softly said, "My name is Xu Wei, from the Empire. You may also call me Elder Xu. If you ever need help in the future, you can come to me. I may be able to assist you." With that, he waved his hand, and the 3 sets of championship prizes floated down. Hearing his words, I felt a slight sense of unease, though I couldn't pinpoint why. Some people, upon hearing Xu Wei's name, immediately recognized his identity, one of the 12 counselors of the Shenxia Empire, a true high-ranking figure, who could influence the Empire's decisions. Is he stronger than Bai Shen? Not exactly. Bai Shen is a god-tier professional, a pillar of the Empire. Although Xu Wei is strong and holds significant power, he still falls short compared to Bai Shen. Then, Xu Wei personally handed the prizes to the 3 teams. However, he paused for a moment in front of me. "Young man, I have high hopes for you. If you ever face difficulties, come to me." Before I could respond, he announced loudly, "The team competition for those below level 40 has officially ended. The individual competition will begin tomorrow. All participants, please prepare accordingly." After saying this, he stepped into the air and left. Just as I was about to open the box, the moment my fingers touched it, I felt a familiar energy seep into my body. But after a careful inspection, I found nothing unusual. I thought it might just be my imagination, so I didn't pay it much attention. I then distributed the 50 million gold coins among the team, handed the Chuji Xianji Yaoji, primary divine potion, to a K, and kept the glowing skill scroll for myself. At the moment I touched the box, Meng Lao, far away in Shaojing Academy, suddenly frowned. The fish has taken the bait, but I didn't expect it to be him. Bai Shen's expression turned serious. His eyebrows furrowed. "Are you sure it's Xu Wei, one of the 12 counselors?" "Not entirely certain yet, but it's highly likely." Ling Tyran, standing nearby, whispered, "It's actually him? Be careful, don't make a mistake. If it's really him, this is a huge deal." I never expected the demon worshippers to have infiltrated to this extent. You must realize, Xu Wei is one of the 12 counselors of the Shenxia Empire. His status is second only to Bai Shen and others. If he's been compromised, it would be a disaster for all of humanity. Meng Lao closed his eyes and remained silent, continuing to observe carefully. This was no small matter. Even he had to confirm every detail. Meanwhile, Akei and I arrived at the high-level competition arena. The high-level competition was also in the process of awarding prizes. The presenter was still Counselor Xu Wei. My sister's team had also won the championship in the level 40 category. The prizes for the 3 categories in the high-level competition were the same. 500 million gold coins, a glowing ultimate skill scroll, and an ultimate divine potion. The ultimate divine potion, when consumed, permanently increases all attributes by 2000. For a level 40+ professional, this is no small boost. Seeing my sister win the championship, I felt incredibly happy, but when I saw the box of gold coins, a sense of foreboding washed over me. I felt that there was something ominous inside the box. So, I asked Akei to use her skill to inspect the box's interior. Akei immediately activated her skill, Shadow Insight. In an instant, she noticed something unusual. There's definitely something wrong. I saw a dark aura inside the gold coin box. It feels similar to the aura of an abyss demon, but not exactly the same. Hearing this, I became certain this dark aura was definitely related to the abyss. At that moment, Lin Mohan touched the gold coin box. AK immediately said, "That dark aura has transferred to Sister Han's wrist." But Sister Han has already noticed the dark aura. However, she didn't react negatively. Instead, she smiled. Hearing this, a new thought crossed my mind. Could it be that my sister is also one of the bait? I recalled what Bai Shen had told me. He said I wasn't the only bait. Now, it seems my sister might also be part of the plan. I carefully recalled what Bai Shen had told me. He said there was an evil organization in the human world, called the Demon Worshippers. Every member of this group worships the Abyss Demon King, and seeks to help him invade the human world. They have been collecting information on top talents, then secretly assassinating these geniuses, strip humanity of its ability to resist the Abyss Demon King. In the past 2 years, several geniuses in the Shenxia Empire were assassinated by them. Although Bai Shen had taken action, he only managed to eliminate some minor players. This time, Bai Shen used me as bait to lure out bigger fish. He needed me to demonstrate extraordinary strength and astonishing talent, but I shouldn't reveal all my strength at once. That's why I've been gradually showing my abilities. Yet, even this small display has attracted the world's attention. As bait, I never considered the danger. But now, knowing that my sister is also part of the bait, I can't help but feel worried. Kay noticed my expression and comforted me. Don't worry, Sister Han will be fine. Since she's been carefully chosen by the Empire as bait, the Empire will surely have God-tier professionals protecting her in secret. Hearing this, I relaxed a little. It made sense. Bai Shen and the others would definitely consider safety. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and hundreds of thunderbolts struck down. In an instant, the entire Nanhong city was enveloped in thunder. These thunderbolts weren't random. Each one targeted a teleportation array. In a flash, all the teleportation arrays in Nanhong city were destroyed. Then, a massive barrier rapidly descended, covering most of Nanhong city, including the professional competition venue. I looked up at the suddenly appearing barrier, my heart calm. No matter when the demon worshippers struck, it was within expectations. The reason they chose Nanhong city was because most of the legendary professionals, who hadn't yet fully matured, were now gathered in Nanhong city for the professional competition. By eliminating them all at once, it would be a severe blow to both the Shenxia Empire and all of humanity. The professionals witnessing this were utterly shocked. My god, it's a barrier. What's happening? Did God-tier professional make a move? But what's their goal? The previously calm competition venue instantly erupted in chaos. They've made their move. They've made their move. The two pillars of the Shenxia Empire have both taken action. Even Meng Lao, whose strength was unknown, has finally revealed his power. It turned out that after the team competition ended, the demon worshippers, hidden among humans, suddenly launched a night raid on Nanhong city, aiming to eliminate the talented participants of the competition in one fell swoop. As the massive barrier fell over Nanhong city, 10 masked figures in black suddenly appeared in the sky. Their auras were overwhelming, and without exception, they were all top-tier professionals above level 70. Then, another figure emerged from behind them. His aura was even more immense and oppressive. My pupils contracted. Although he wasn't as strong as Bai Shen, he was at least an elite professional above level 80. They all wore masks, crafted from special items, that even a K's shadow insight couldn't penetrate to reveal their faces. Shang Dao's expression changed drastically. How dare these demon worshippers cause trouble at the professional competition? Other professionals panicked upon hearing it was the demon worshippers. It's over. It's the demon worshippers. How dare they attack the Shenxia Empire? Aren't they afraid Bai Shen will annihilate them? The leader of the demon worshippers coldly uttered a single word. Kill. In an instant, his 9 subordinates charged downward. At the same time, tens of thousands of abyss creatures surged forward from the coastline. Behind them were countless abyss demons. Alarms blared across Nanhong city, and combat professionals quickly assembled. They formed teams, buffed themselves, and clashed with the abyss creatures. Suddenly, I noticed my wrist glowing. The dark aura left from touching the box earlier. Now, I stood out like a beacon in the crowd. It wasn't just me. The other championship teams also shone like bright light bulbs. Seeing this, the abyss demons seemed to find their targets. Kill them here. Thousands of abyss demons led a massive swarm of abyss creatures toward us. Clearly, the championship teams were their primary targets. The professionals shouted in unison. Prepare for battle. Kill one, and it's worth it. Kill two, and it's a profit. At this moment, the professionals cast aside their fear. Seeing this, the leader of the demon worshippers revealed a mocking smile in his eyes. Brave, indeed, but it's useless. Your fate is already sealed. But as soon as he finished speaking, a voice suddenly came from behind him. I don't think so. He quickly turned around, only to see Bai Shen standing behind him. So, Bai Shen has arrived. Bai Yiyuan chuckled softly. It seems Counselor Xu Wei anticipated my arrival. Xu Wei sighed and removed his mask, revealing his true face. I knew I couldn't hide from you, Bai Shen. Facing Bai Shen, he showed no fear, clearly prepared for this moment. Suddenly, a coquettish laugh rang out. Without a backup plan, who would dare provoke you, Bai Shen? In the next moment, a female demon appeared in the void. Her beauty was striking, her figure alluring, and her entire being exuded temptation. Bai Yiyuan glanced at her and waved his hand dismissively. So, it's the seduction demon king. I wondered who could turn an elite level 83 professional into a demon's lackey. After some thought, it could only be you. The seduction demon king giggled. Unfortunately, even I can't seduce you, Bai Shen. Bai Yiyuan clenched his fist. Since you've come, you'll stay here. Those who dare cause trouble in the Shenxia Empire must pay the price. The seduction demon king laughed even more enchantingly. It seems Bai Shen is very confident, but I'm only here to kill, not to stay. Bai Yiyuan's gaze sharpened. That's not up to you. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Tyran appeared by his side. But less than a second after his arrival, a burst of flames erupted in the void. With a loud explosion, a demon emerged from the sea of fire. His body was engulfed in flames, and his eyes blazed with fire. Old man Ning, I'll be your opponent. Ning Tyron's expression turned furious upon seeing him, the Flame Demon King. Clearly, he had a deep grudge against the Flame Demon King. At that moment, a loud explosion echoed from below. The protective barrier of the competition venue was shattered, and a flood of demons rushed in. Fortunately, the professionals were already prepared for battle. I, too, was ready. With a wave of my hand, I summoned dozens of skeletons. The skeleton warriors cut down the weaker demons with ease, and even the stronger abyss demons couldn't last more than 2.5 seconds against them. Meanwhile, the skeleton mages unleashed elemental attacks from behind. The blink of an eye, hundreds of abyss creatures fell by my hand. The professionals watching this were stunned. Holy crap, that's terrifying. He was holding back during the competition, but this also drew the attention of 2 top-tier professionals from the demon worshippers. They quickly charged toward me. The seduction demon king giggled. What a genius. But alas, it's just a final struggle before death. Bai Yiyuan, however, calmly said, that's not certain. As soon as he spoke, a towering pagoda suddenly appeared outside the barrier. The pagoda descended with immense force, shattering the supposedly indestructible barrier. Like glass, the seduction demon king's expression changed drastically. The Shenxia pagoda has descended. Meng Anwen is here. After crushing the barrier, the Shenxia pagoda grew to an enormous size, radiating blinding light. In an instant, all the abyss demons and abyss creatures in Nanhong City vanished. Along with them, all the participants of the individual competition disappeared. At the same time, Bai Yiyuan's aura surged dramatically. He clenched his fist and unleashed a devastating punch. Skill, heaven-shaking fist. In an instant, the surrounding space trembled violently, as if it were about to be torn apart. This is Bai Yiyuan's profession, the Divine Fist Overlord. The Seduction Demon King knew Bai Yiyuan's strength well, so he dared only to dodge, not to engage directly. Ning Tyron also took action. Skill, Fire Dragon. In an instant, flames surged forth, transforming into a dragon that lunged at the Flame Demon King. 2 god-tier experts had joined the battle. As they fought, a large teleportation array beneath Nanhong City flickered. Dozens of professionals, bearing the emblem of Shaojing Academy appeared, without exception. They were all top-tier professionals above level 70. Among them, the leaders were elite professionals above level 80. Their aura is overwhelming. The leader drew his sword and slashed, splitting the ground with a wave of sword energy. The group charged forward, heading straight for the demon worshippers. The Seduction Demon King watched, realizing they had fallen into a trap. The Shenxia Empire had been prepared all along. Otherwise, how could the Shenxia Pagoda have descended in its true form? This battle was lost. The Seduction Demon King ordered a swift retreat, but as soon as he spoke, a low growl echoed through the air. You're not going anywhere. Hearing this, the Seduction Demon King's expression turned grim. Even the Flame Demon King, locked in battle with Ning Tyron, showed signs of fear. At this moment, the Shenxia Pagoda divided into 2 spaces, one for high-level professionals, and the other for low-level professionals. Each space was further divided into 3 independent zones, with 10 levels per group, mirroring the previous format. The individual competition begins now. Meng Anwen's voice echoed throughout the Shenxia Pagoda. Before the professionals, countless abyss creatures and demons appeared. They were like prisoners in a cage, serving as the targets for this individual competition. Meng Anwen's voice continued. Level 10 professionals will face level 22 abyss creatures. 4,320 in total. A giant hand appeared in the air, reaching into the horde of creatures. With a casual grab, it seized exactly 4,320 creatures, tossing them aside like trash. Their levels were then suppressed to 20. Level 20 professionals will face level 32 abyss creatures, and level 35 abyss demons. 7,520 in total. Level 30 professionals will face level 42 abyss creatures and level 45 abyss demons. 4,990 in total. The individual competition follows a points system. Killing an abyss creature earns 1 point, while killing an abyss demon earns 100 points. The one with the highest score wins. I was utterly shocked by Meng Anwen's display of power. Is this the strength of a god-tier expert? At this moment, I felt an intense desire to reach that level. Shocked, my corpse exploding skill, revealed for the first time in the competition, left all the participating geniuses in awe. Just before the competition began, Su Sheng, the Holy Light Mage, still wore his usual arrogant expression. Lin Muyu, dare to compete with me again? Let's see who can kill more. Before I could respond, Lu Shenren, standing nearby, issued a similar challenge to Su Sheng. Although your profession ranks higher than mine, I won't lose to you on the battlefield. Su Sheng smirked. On the battlefield, you're still my subordinate. Lu Shenren snorted. Save that talk for yourself. Don't forget, you've also been someone else's subordinate. Su Sheng's expression darkened, and he fell silent. Then, Meng Anwen's voice rang out again. The competition begins. In the next moment, all the gates holding the abyss creatures opened. A flood of abyss creatures surged forth, accompanied by numerous demons. At that moment, Su Sheng and Lu Shenren unleashed their skills simultaneously. Skill, Holy Light. Skill, Treasure Slash. Su Sheng knew that this strike would eliminate at least 100 abyss creatures. With a few more waves, no one could compete with him. As for Lu Shenren, he needed time to prepare before releasing his skills. Thinking this, Su Sheng glanced at me, only to find that I hadn't moved at all. He was puzzled. Why isn't he summoning skeletons? Is he giving up? The thought made him smirk. believing the championship was already his. But just as he prepared to unleash another skill, a deafening explosion rang out. The ground shook violently. After the explosion, a large number of abyss creatures lay dead. Su Sheng stared in disbelief. The explosion's power far surpassed his holy light skill. Who did this? Then, he turned and saw me raising my hand to cast a skill. His pupils contracted sharply. It's him. But it wasn't just him. All the participants noticed that I was the one behind the explosion. They all looked as if they'd seen a ghost. Holy crap. Not only is he a summoner, but he's also a mage. And a mage with AoE skills at that. While they were still in shock, another explosion echoed. Abyss creatures fell like straw. Each explosion wiped out hundreds of abyss creatures. In just half a minute, over 7,000 abyss creatures were annihilated. Only a few flying abyss demons survived. But I had no intention of letting them go. After all, they were all military merits. I raised my hand and summoned skeleton warriors. The skeleton warriors hurled the corpses of the creatures into the air. Then, I cast the skill Slow Curse, instantly immobilizing the fleeing demons in midair. They couldn't move, as the corpses neared them. I triggered the explosion skill. In an instant, nearly half the demons were obliterated in the blast. The remaining demons were also engulfed in the explosions. In less than 3 minutes, the battle was completely over. 7,520 monsters and demons. At least 7,300 of them were killed by me. All participants in the level 20 category were staring at me in shock. You killed them all by yourself. What's left for others to kill? Is this really a solo competition? It's more like his personal showcase. No one expected my AoE skills to be so powerful. Powerful enough to instantly kill abyss demons. My strength has once again revealed just the tip of the iceberg. Su Sheng couldn't help but gulp nervously. At this moment, his arrogance completely vanished. What kind of insane class is this? Lu Shenran, standing beside him, saw his expression, and burst into laughter. Serves you right, now you know, huh? He's the real deal. Compared to him, your class is nothing. Su Sheng glared at him but didn't retort. Because compared to me, his class was utterly weak. At that moment, the military badge on my shoulder suddenly lit up. It was the demons I had killed, transforming into military merits and flowing into it. Soon, the third golden star slowly appeared. At this moment, my total military merits reached 36,000 points. And my rank was promoted to 3 stars. Everyone was stunned when they saw this. A silver badge. He's actually a 3-star sentinel. My god, that requires at least 30,000 military merits. How many demons did he have to kill to reach this level? This is terrifying. Su Sheng was once again shocked. He silently removed his own badge, because he was only a 1-star private. Compared to my 3-star sentinel rank, it's nothing. Some people laughed even harder at this scene. Ha ha ha, you're just a 1-star private. I'm a 3-star private. 2 stars above you. Su Sheng snapped. Get lost. I'll catch up to you sooner or later. Lu Shenran said calmly. Even if you catch up to me, catching up to Lin Moyu will probably take a lifetime. Su Sheng muttered under his breath. You don't understand anything. I'm a holy light mage. I get stronger in the late game. Lu Shenran teased. Who's to say Lin Moyu won't be even stronger in the late game? Su Sheng snorted and stopped talking. Meanwhile, I felt a bit worried. Worried about what might happen outside. Although I trusted Bai Shen to handle things, there's always a chance something could go wrong. After a full half hour, the solo competition finally ended. Then, all participants vanished from the Divine Tower, and reappeared in the competition grounds of Nanhung City. Inside the residence, people immediately noticed the corpses scattered everywhere. Suddenly, someone pointed to the sky and shouted, Look, there are people in the sky. Dozens of professionals stood in the air. They were all top-tier professionals from Shaojing Academy. Each one incredibly powerful. Clearly, the demon worshippers had been killed by them. Standing at the forefront was Bai Shen, Councilman Bai. His voice echoed. We anticipated the demon worshippers' attack this time, and we used it to our advantage, turning it into a real battle for the solo competition. Now that the demons have retreated, we will announce the winners of the solo competition, combining the lower and higher tier arenas. There are 6 categories in total, with 6 solo champions. He waved his hand, and each champion received their respective prizes. The 3 champions above level 40 received ultimate miracle potions, while those below level 40 received basic miracle potions. Councilman Bai continued, Tomorrow, we will hold the challenge matches. The interested are welcome to participate. The prizes for the challenge matches are extremely generous. After speaking, he turned and left with the others. Upon returning to Shaojing Academy, Councilman Bai cursed, Damn it, I didn't expect Black Flame to intervene. We couldn't capture the Shadow Demon King and the Flame Demon King. Tyron was also furious. If it weren't for Black Flame, the Flame Demon King wouldn't have escaped today. It's all because of Black Flame. Meng Anwen, Wen Yan looked surprised. Did the old man not take action? Bai Yuan said solemnly. He acted too early. As soon as the old man moved, the Shadow Demon King sacrificed her life to open a connection channel between the abyss and humanity, summoning a hand from Black Flame. Hearing this, Meng Anwen immediately understood. What a pity. The next day, the challenge matches officially began. Unlike previous competitions, the challenge matches allowed on-the-spot registration and immediate participation. No preliminary rounds were needed. All professionals had the opportunity to compete. I recalled Councilman Bai's words to me, insisting that I must participate in the challenge matches and achieve the highest possible results. Now, after understanding the rules, I finally realized why he made such a demand. The rewards were simply too good. For professionals below level 40, successfully completing the first challenge, rewarded a shining basic skill scroll. Completing the second challenge, rewarded a shining ultimate skill scroll. Completing the third challenge, rewarded a bottle of ultimate miracle potion. Completing the fourth challenge, rewarded 2 shining ultimate skill scrolls. In short, the more challenges you completed, the better the rewards, far surpassing the rewards of the team and solo competitions. Of course, the difficulty was also extremely high. Just the first round required challenging an opponent 5 levels higher than yourself. The second round required facing someone 10 levels higher, and the third round, 15 levels higher. Historically, very few could complete the second challenge, and those who completed the third challenge were even rarer. As for those who completed the fourth challenge, none had ever appeared to this day. 3 challenges were the limit. A record unbroken for centuries. This was my first time participating in the challenge matches, and I broke the Empire's centuries-old record, while countless geniuses failed miserably in the competition. I won my match effortlessly. In less than 10 seconds. Everyone who saw this was stunned, believing I was the only one who could break the historical record. As soon as the challenge matches officially began, some professionals, confident in their abilities, were eager to try. A knight was the first to sign up and step onto the arena. This was a soldier from Britain, Halos, a level 34 sword and shield knight. He thought his rich combat experience as a soldier would at least allow him to succeed once, but when he saw his opponent, his confidence instantly crumbled. His opponent was also a sword and shield knight, a level 39 sword and shield knight, also a soldier. But from the Shenxia Empire's military, he wore a set of equipment that no one had ever seen before. It was the military's unique golden equipment, also known as battlefield gear. His gaze was solemn, exuding an overwhelming killing intent that completely suppressed Halos. Sweat began to drip from Hylas's forehead. Before the fight even began, he felt like he had already lost. As the opponent's aura grew stronger, Halos finally couldn't take it anymore, and activated his charge skill. Seeing this, the opponent also raised his shield, and activated his charge skill. The moment their shields collided, Halos was sent flying like a cannonball, landing outside the arena. This marked his failure in the challenge. The audience, seeing this, couldn't help but gasp in shock. Is this the strength of the Shenxia Empire's military? It's terrifying. Next, the second challenger stepped forward. This was a level 46 elemental mage, with a beautiful appearance. She walked onto the arena with graceful steps, dressed in a set of platinum equipment. Her robe was slid up to her waist, revealing her long, fair legs. Instantly, she attracted the attention of many in the audience. She randomly drew a level 51 elf archer as her opponent. The elf archer was also from the Shenxia Empire's military, dressed in battlefield equipment. The female mage frowned upon seeing this. Mages facing archers are inherently at a disadvantage, and the opponent was 5 levels higher than her. She immediately lost confidence. When the battle began, she immediately cast a magic shield on herself. But as soon as the shield formed, a barrage of arrows struck the shield. Then, the arrows exploded, engulfing her in flames. The magic shield shook violently. Before the explosion's aftermath could dissipate, the female archer unleashed another skill, explosive arrow. Seeing this, the mage was terrified. The archer's attack speed was simply too fast. With a loud bang, the explosive arrow detonated on the magic shield. The resulting flames obscured her vision, making it impossible to locate her opponent. Then, a rain of arrows fell like a storm. The mage's magic shield was subjected to intense pressure. After holding on for 2.5 seconds, the magic shield finally shattered. As the shield disintegrated, another arrow shot toward her. It exploded near the mage, activating the skill, Silence Arrow. Instantly, all of the mage's skills were sealed. The mage was declared completely defeated, without any chance to fight back. Once again, the Shenxia military proved their strength, leaving no room for the opponent to counterattack. Amid the crowd's astonishment, battle after battle unfolded, all ending in failure for the challengers. People exclaimed, "It's too hard. Even the first round is impossible, let alone the second or third rounds." Then, it was Su Sheng's turn to challenge. He stepped onto the arena. After 2 consecutive defeats yesterday, he was much more restrained today. The arrogance in his eyes was gone. His opponent was a level 34 sword and shield knight, also from the Shenxia military. As the referee announced the start of the battle, the arena was instantly bathed in a holy white light. This was Su Sheng's skill, Holy Light, an all-pervasive mental attack. Continuously damaged the sword and shield knight. Suddenly, a blinding blue light appeared within the white light. It shot toward Su Sheng like lightning. Skill, ultimate defense, skill, charge. In an instant, the sword and shield knight closed in on Su Sheng. But Su Sheng didn't retreat. Instead, he quickly cast his skill, Holy Light Ring. The ring exploded with a forced knockback effect. The knight used shield bash at the same time. The 2 skills collided, creating a loud explosion. The Holy Light Ring shattered, but the knight only stepped back half a step. He swung his sword down with the skill, Flash Slash. Facing the knight's attack, Su Sheng continued to cast his skill, Holy Light Shield. He successfully blocked the attack with his magic shield. Then, he unleashed Holy Light Impact, forcing the knight back. The knight retreated a few steps but quickly closed in again. The 2 were locked in a stalemate, testing each other's endurance. If the knight couldn't defeat Su Sheng before his ultimate defense wore off, he would be the one to lose. Su Sheng was in the same position. He didn't know how long his Holy Light Shield could last, so he focused on strengthening his Holy Light skill to break the knight's ultimate defense as quickly as possible. When the Holy Light finally faded, only Su Sheng remained on the field. He looked relieved. His shield had been broken moments ago, and he had almost lost. Fortunately, the sword and shield knight couldn't hold on. With a look of pride in his eyes, he proved his strength to the world, but he decisively gave up on continuing the challenge. After all, challenging someone 5 levels higher was already his limit. After him, there were more consecutive failures. Then, Lu Shenran stepped up. He faced a mage, which was advantageous for him. He was confident, feeling he had a chance. After all, he was also a legendary class professional, but he lost miserably. In less than 5 seconds, he was blasted off the stage. The audience, seeing this, exclaimed in shock, the Shenxia Empire's military is too strong. From the beginning until now, over 100 matches had taken place, but only one person had succeeded in the challenge. I felt that the Shenxia Empire was using this as a demonstration to show the world how strong their military was. Finally, it was my turn to step up for the challenge. The audience below erupted in cheers when they saw me take the stage. In their eyes, I was the only one who could create a legend. From the preliminary rounds, my strength had been like a mystery, slowly being unveiled. Every time people thought they had seen my limits, I would reveal another layer of my power, especially during last night's solo competition, where I single-handedly dominated the level 20 category. Level 20, group's points were practically monopolized by me. Only then did people realize that I possessed such powerful AoE skills. Now, as I took the stage, they began to speculate. How many rounds do you think Lin Moyu can challenge? Completing the first round is definitely no problem. Even Su Sheng managed to complete 1 round. Let alone him. I think he can at least complete 2 rounds, maybe more. Perhaps even break the human record. But some disagreed, saying it was impossible. For hundreds of years, no one has ever succeeded in the 4th round. Even completing 3 rounds is extremely rare, especially with how strong the Shenxia military is this year. They're ridiculously powerful. At that moment, my opponent appeared on the stage. He was a level 32 mage. When he saw my military badge, his eyes flickered slightly. Then, he gave me a formal military salute. This was the salute of a subordinate to a superior. This action caused an uproar. What's going on? Is Lin Moyu also from the military? No, his rank is higher. Hearing this, the crowd looked at my military badge, and finally realized, my god, he's a 3-star lieutenant. He's only level 27. At his age, most people are only 1-star privates. How did he achieve this? As the referee announced the start of the battle, several fireballs flew toward me in an instant. At the same time, 10 skeleton warriors and skeleton mages appeared around me. The skeleton warriors rushed forward to block the fireballs, while the skeleton mages cast skills to attack the mage. Bolts of lightning continuously struck the mage. The mage immediately activated his magic shield, but after just 3 lightning strikes, the shield shattered. The mage reacted quickly, dodging away from the area. As soon as his shield broke, he moved with agility uncommon for a mage, but no matter how fast he was, he couldn't outpace my skeleton warriors. As the skeleton warriors' blades relentlessly struck him, he was soon forced out of the arena. From start to finish, the battle lasted less than 10 seconds. The audience was stunned. That was so fast. Remember, Su Sheng took nearly 10 minutes. Seeing this, Su Sheng knew he had lost again. And this time, it was a complete defeat. After winning the first round, I received a shining basic skill scroll. I decisively chose to continue to the second round. Next, I would face a level 37 professional. Using less than 1/10 of my strength, I crushed the geniuses from various academies, even defeating high-level professionals 15 levels above me. But the 4th round challenge required facing 5 high-level professionals simultaneously. After I won the first challenge, the second challenger stepped onto the stage. He was a level 37 sword and shield knight. Having seen my previous battle, he knew how powerful my skeletons were. His eyes locked onto me, clearly aware that dealing with a summoner, the best way to deal with a summoner is to target the summoner themselves. As long as I'm taken out, my skeletons will naturally disappear. As the battle began, he immediately activated his charge skill, rushing toward me. To leverage the advantages of his melee class, he had to close the distance first. However, before he could reach me, my skeleton warriors pushed him back. The knight, barely stabilizing himself, was horrified. Such terrifying strength. Keep in mind, the charge skill significantly increases impact force. Yet I was knocked back by a skeleton warrior. Clearly, the skeleton warrior's stats far surpass mine. He realized that he absolutely couldn't face the skeleton warriors head-on, so he began looking for an opening to get closer to me. But I was surrounded by skeleton warriors and skeleton mages. Getting close to me was nearly impossible. As he pondered this, the skeleton mage's attacks rained down on him. He raised his shield, blocking and dodging rapidly. The further he retreated, the more skeleton warriors chased him. After luring the skeleton warriors away, he suddenly turned and activated his charge skill again, bolting toward me like lightning. Seeing this, I shook my head slightly. It's useless. You can't get close to me. With that, I raised my hand and cast slow curse. In an instant, the knight felt as if the world had sped up. Even the skeleton warrior's blades seemed faster than lightning, while his own movements became extremely sluggish. He realized he had been cursed, but it was already too late. The skeleton warrior's blades relentlessly struck him. His vision went dark, and the next second, he was outside the arena. He had lost, and decisively so. The audience was utterly shocked. Lin Moyu is terrifying. At level 27, he's dominating a level 37 professional. And his opponent is a member of the Shenxia Empire's military. The second round of the challenge was easily won. I received a shining ultimate skill scroll, but I still chose to continue the challenge. If I could win the third round, I would receive a bottle of Ultimate Miracle Potion. Compared to the shining Ultimate Skill Scroll, the Ultimate Miracle Potion was even more valuable, plus 2000 to all stats. For any professional, this was a massive boost. Then, a level 42 archer appeared on the stage. He was clad in a set of platinum-grade battlefield armor, exuding an overwhelming aura. The reason high-level professionals have a clear advantage over low-level professionals is that after the second class advancement, not only do their stats increase significantly, but all their skills become stronger, and they gain access to powerful high-level skills. Moreover, starting from level 40, they can use platinum-grade equipment. Thus, high-level professionals above level 40 can easily crush low-level professionals. In everyone's eyes, winning this round would be extremely difficult for me. Do you think he'll continue to the fourth round if he wins the third? Hard to say. The fourth round isn't that simple. The reason no one has ever succeeded in the fourth round is because it's incredibly challenging. I've heard the fourth round is unusual, different from the first 3 rounds. Otherwise, someone would have succeeded by now. No one knows what the fourth round entails, only that it's extremely difficult. But they were also very curious, wondering just how difficult the fourth round was. They could only place their hopes on me. On the stage, the archer's gaze was sharp as lightning, as if he had already locked onto me. As the referee announced the start of the battle, several beams of sword light shot into the sky, descending toward me. At the same time, the skeleton mage's attacks reached the archer. The archer quickly retreated, and during his retreat, his body split into 3, dodging in different directions. This was his skill, Shadow Clone. The skeleton mages immediately lost their target. Seeing this, I had an idea. I ordered the skeleton mages to attack freely. At this moment, the tracking arrows landed. A series of loud explosions struck me, each hit like a boulder crashing down, ear-splitting noises reverberating. It felt as if the blows were hitting the audience's hearts. Lin Moyu is done for, most people thought. No matter how strong a level 27 professional skills are, taking a direct hit from a level 42 high-level professional would surely result in instant death. However, when they saw me standing unharmed on the stage, the audience was stunned. What the hell? What's going on? Could it be that his bone armor blocked the attacks? My god, he actually has such a powerful defensive skill. Even the archer was momentarily stunned, not expecting his powerful attack to be blocked by a level 27 professional, but relying on his agility, he dashed across the stage, continuously attacking me while moving. However, his attacks were all blocked by my bone armor. Seeing that my skeletons couldn't catch him, the archer smirked confidently. Seeing this, I shook my head slightly. I raised my hand and cast Slow Curse. In the next second, the archer's expression froze. His lightning-fast speed turned as slow as a snail's. As the skeleton mage's attacks were about to land, the archer raised his bow and shouted, "Purify!" A beam of light shot into the sky, and the Slow Curse was dispelled. Seeing this, I was slightly surprised. This was the healer's purification skill. Clearly, this skill came from his platinum-grade weapon. Many platinum-grade equipment pieces come with attached skills, mostly weapons. I cast Slow Curse again, but the purification effect was still active, so the Slow Curse didn't take effect. The archer took the opportunity to unleash various skills at me. Explosive arrow, impact arrow, silence arrow. He threw everything at me. However, none of his attacks could break through my bone armor. Even if they barely managed to break it, they couldn't harm me at all. After all, I also had a passive skill, Damage Transfer, which transferred all damage I received to my skeletons. However, some observant people noticed something unusual. The bone armor was terrifyingly strong. Despite taking so many hits, it remained intact. Keep in mind, these were attacks from a level 42 high-level professional. If it were any other level 27 professional, they would have been instantly killed. However, the archer remained silent, continuously attacking me while dodging. He believed he could eventually break through my bone armor, but I was already bored with this fight. Blue flames flickered wildly in my hand. Skill, Soul Flame. The running archer suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream. His gaze toward me turned fearful. The audience erupted in excitement. What happened? Why is the archer in so much pain? I don't know. I saw Lin Moyu use a skill. It must be a single target skill, and a lock-on type at that. Once again, I revealed just the tip of my strength. As I cast Soul Flame again, his screams pierced the heavens. The next second, he was outside the arena. The referee announced my victory in the third round, awarding me a bottle of Ultimate Miracle Potion. I had also tied the challenge record. I was asked if I wanted to continue the challenge. Of course, I chose to continue. The audience erupted in cheers. The match they had been waiting for had finally arrived. Amid the anticipation, a level 45 sword and shield knight appeared on the stage. Clad in military battlefield armor, only 3 levels higher than the previous opponent. The audience was in disbelief. Is this the difficulty of the fourth round? Amid everyone's confusion, a second professional appeared on the stage. A level 45 Battle King support, a level 45 archer, a level 45 mage, and a level 45 assassin. 3 high-level professionals appeared one after another, forming a standard 5-man team. Only then did people realize why no one had ever succeeded in the fourth round. Not only did you have to face 5 opponents alone, but each of them was over 18 levels higher than the challenger. At this moment, everyone thought I was doomed. The leading knight spoke up. "Young man, you're quite impressive. Making it to the fourth round is already a great achievement." Although he was only 3 levels higher than the previous archer, the aura he exuded was completely different. Looking at the military badge on his shoulder, a 9-star sentinel, He was just one step away from becoming a colonel. He was a veteran who had fought on the front lines for years. Such individuals were extremely formidable, and his 4 teammates were equally exceptional. The weakest among them was a 5-star sentinel, but if this was the extent of their strength, then the legendary record of the 4th round would be broken by me. The organizers of the challenge, the Shenxiao Empire's officials, finally showed signs of panic. When I chose to continue to the 4th round, a team of 5 level 45 professionals appeared on the stage. It was a standard 5-man squad, composed of seasoned veterans, who had fought countless battles on the front lines. Many believed I was destined to lose, but I simply smiled. If this was all they had, then the legendary record of the 4th round would be shattered by me. As the match officially began, the Battle King's support immediately buffed his teammates. I slowly raised my hand, and in an instant, a cold, dark aura swept across the arena. The next second, the audience outside the arena stood up in shock, their faces filled with disbelief. Some even trembled as they spoke. What is this? How can there be so many skeletons? 100 skeleton warriors, and 50 skeleton mages stood on the stage, forming an army. Seeing this, the knight couldn't help but gulp, and the archer's palms grew sweaty. Even their confidence began to crumble. After all, my skeleton stats were no joke. They weren't far behind the professionals. Even if my skeletons only had 1 skill each, the sheer number of them far exceeded what the opponents could handle. The professionals watching from below were stunned. Holy crap, is he even human? He's practically an army. Even Su Sheng couldn't help but show a hint of admiration. This guy hid his strength so well. He completely fooled us. At my command, the skeleton warriors charged at the opponents. 100 skeleton warriors already occupied half the stage, leaving the opponents no room to dodge. The skeleton mages' skills rained down first, tidal wave of elemental attacks, instantly engulfing the opponents. The knight immediately activated his skill, Group Shield, creating a massive barrier to protect his team. The Battle King support applied more buffs, while the archer and mage prepared their AoE skills. The assassin activated stealth, lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity. This series of actions showcased their strength. An ordinary person would have been terrified. Despite their shock, years of facing abyss demons had honed their instincts for dealing with powerful enemies. At this moment, a pentagram began to form beneath the mage's feet, and the archer's skill was rapidly charging. However, by then, the skeleton warriors had already reached them. Their blades relentlessly struck the knight's group shield. In the blink of an eye, the knight was nearly exhausted. He gritted his teeth and shouted to the mage and archer behind him. "Hurry up, I can't hold on much longer." As soon as he finished speaking, the mage's skill erupted. Blazing apocalypse, a torrent of fire rained down from the sky. The stage was engulfed in flames. The skeleton warriors were incinerated in an instant, but more continued to charge forward. The knight's shield finally shattered under the relentless assault. The fire rained down on the skeleton warriors, while the archer's skill also erupted. Skill, sword explosion. Although this skill was similar to Lu Shenren's, its range was larger, and its power was greater. In an instant, a storm of swords engulfed the entire arena. Both I and the skeleton mages were caught in the storm. The swords exploded one after another, causing the entire stage to tremble violently. Although the sword explosion was powerful, with my bone armor, I could basically ignore the damage. The skeleton warriors were also unaffected. The only ones slightly injured were the skeleton mages. The smoke from the explosions completely obscured my vision. Suddenly, a smile crept onto my lips. I spoke softly into the void. His sword explosion had another purpose, didn't it? As soon as I finished speaking, a dagger stabbed at me from behind. But it was easily blocked by my bone armor. The assassin was shocked. His full power strike couldn't even break through my defense. Before he could react, my slow curse descended upon him. Cursed, he could no longer enter stealth mode. Then, 10 bolts of lightning from the skeleton mages struck him simultaneously. The assassin let out a blood-curdling scream. Suddenly, his body began to blur. This was his level 40 high-level skill, Phantom Dash. It had a similar effect to the Ghost King's skill, but Phantom Dash couldn't dispel curses. I immediately cast Soul Flame. He screamed in agony, and his body solidified again. Just as the skeleton warriors were about to finish him off, the mage rushed to his side. A massive ring of fire erupted around him, sending the surrounding skeleton warriors flying. The level 45 mage's repelling fire ring was terrifyingly powerful. In one blow, at least 30 to 40 skeleton warriors were blasted away. The area in front of him was instantly cleared. At the same time, the Battle King's support immediately healed the assassin. Then, a barrage of arrows rained down, exploding in front of the skeletons. White threads spread across the ground, instantly trapping the front line of skeletons. The mage and archer used all their skills to control the skeletons. But they knew that killing the skeletons was nearly impossible. The only way was to take me out directly. After exchanging glances, they immediately sprang into action. I raised my hand and cast Slow Curse again. Red shackles appeared above each of their heads. However, the moment the curse took effect, the Battle King's support staff glowed with golden light. Beams of light shot up from their bodies, instantly dispelling the curse. Skill, Group Purification. Another skill from a platinum-grade weapon. As soon as the curse was lifted, the knight charged at me with his skill. The skill had a knockback effect, sending all the skeleton warriors in his path flying. In an instant, he cleared a path for his teammates. They were desperate to reach me and take me out directly. However, I simply smiled. It's useless. With that, I casually tossed out a soul flame. The knight at the front let out a blood-curdling scream, and his skill was instantly interrupted. Then, skeleton warriors swarmed in from all directions. The knight knew it was over. Only he had a survival skill, ultimate defense. The other 4 teammates were all fragile. After a round of skills from the skeletons, only the knight remained. Seeing this, the knight gave up all resistance. And just like that, I successfully broke the historical record, becoming the first professional to complete the 4th round of the challenge. My name would forever be etched in the history of the professional tournament. It might even be written into textbooks. As for the 4th round, it was finally over. I had proven my strength beyond any doubt. The audience erupted in cheers, and my legend began to spread. This was just the beginning. The 4th round. The reward for the 4th round was 2 shining ultimate skill scrolls. Combined with the previous rewards, I had obtained a total of 2 shining basic skill scrolls, 4 shining ultimate skill scrolls, and 1 bottle each of basic and ultimate miracle potions. My net worth now far surpassed that of most high-level professionals. But I wasn't ready to stop yet. Without hesitation, I chose to continue the challenge. However, no one had ever attempted the 5th round before. Even the organizers hadn't anticipated setting such a difficulty. They had never publicly announced the rewards for the 5th round. But now, I had proposed to continue the challenge, because Bai Yuan had told me, the higher the challenge, the better. Since he said so, there must be a reason. After I proposed to continue, it took a full 2 minutes. Before the officials finally responded, a figure suddenly appeared in the air. He wore an exquisite robe and held a finely crafted staff. His authoritative voice echoed, "The 5th round will begin in 3 minutes. The reward for success is 1 bottle of advanced miracle potion and 1 shining advanced skill scroll." When he looked at me, his eyes were filled with admiration. Hearing the rewards, a glint of greed flashed in my eyes. The advanced miracle potion could be consumed after reaching level 70 and completing the 3rd class advancement, granting plus 20,000 to all stats. Its value was incredibly high. The shining advanced skill scroll was equally valuable. The probability of obtaining advanced skills was much lower, making it extremely rare for anyone to acquire all skills. One could only imagine how valuable the shining advanced skill scroll was. I clenched my fists. I had to get these rewards. Amid everyone's anticipation, the 5th round officially began. The formation glowed brightly, and a group of people appeared on the stage. A level 50 rare class paladin, a level 50 rare class elder priest, a level 50 rare class elemental mage, a level 50 rare class shadow mage, a level 50 rare class pyromancer, and a level 50 rare class spirit summoner. They were my opponents for the 5th round. A team of 6 level 50 rare class professionals. The audience was stunned. What's going on? 6 level 50 mages, and all of them are rare class professionals. The elemental mage and pyromancer have devastating AoE abilities. The shadow mage can control the battlefield, and the elder priest can greatly enhance the mage's attack power. As for the spirit summoner, just the ability to reset skills is enough to give anyone a headache. Lin Moyu is in trouble now. Even with his army of skeletons, he won't stand a chance. It seems the Shenxia Empire's team is specifically designed to counter Lin Moyu's skeleton army. But little did they know, I had a trick up my sleeve. My corpse explosion skill made its debut in the tournament, instantly annihilating the Shenxia Empire's carefully prepared 5th team. After defeating the 4th round team, the Shenxia Empire's officials had sent an extremely powerful team, composed of 1 paladin and 5 mages. Seeing this team, I knew the battle would be tough. This team was specifically designed to counter me. I quickly thought of a strategy. The only way was to overwhelm them with firepower. I wasn't afraid of their AoE skills, but their control skills were a major threat. Among them, the Shadow Mage posed the greatest danger to me. With multiple crowd control skills, he could easily disrupt my skeleton army. The opponents, however, looked calm and composed. They had been called by the Shenxia officials to act as guardians, but they hadn't expected to face a mere level 27 challenger. Still, considering the higher-ups' attitude, they didn't let their guard down. Each of them was fully prepared. When the battle began, I unleashed my full power. I immediately cast bone armor on myself, then summoned a full 100 skeleton mages. A barrage of spells rained down on the opponents. The 6 opponents were startled. The knight quickly raised his shield, activating his skill, Group Shield. A blue barrier instantly rose, protecting all 6 of them. As the torrent of spells crashed down, the knight's shield began to warp and distort, feeling the immense pressure. The knight urgently asked the elder priest for support. Instantly, various buffs were cast on the team. With these buffs, the mage's attack power skyrocketed. The elemental mage and pyromancer began casting their skills. Unlike level 40 mages, they didn't need to chant spells to cast their skills. At level 50, they could cast almost instantly. Skill, Inferno. Skill, Rain of Fire. The shadow mage focused on the distant skeleton mages, his staff glowing as he cast. Skill, Sleep Cloud. A white cloud formed, clearly a crowd control skill. Seeing this, I immediately rushed toward them, while recalling all my skeleton mages. This caused the opponent's attacks and control skills to completely miss their mark. My maneuver left many in awe. Lin Moyu's control over his summons is simply incredible. He managed to dodge all their attacks with so many skeletons, but did you notice? The number of skeleton mages he summoned was even greater than last round, at least 100. It seems last round wasn't even his full strength. Who knows how much power he's still hiding. At that moment, a white summon appeared beside the spirit summoner. It looked like a warhorse. Seeing this, I realized this was the Spirit Summoner's trump card. I immediately summoned my skeleton mages again, launching another barrage of attacks. The knight's shield cracked under the pressure. Just as the shield was about to break, the shadow mage pointed his staff at me. Casting skill, silence. A beam of light struck me. But my bone armor made me immune to all control skills. His silence skill had no effect on me. Seeing this, the shadow mage's expression changed. He quickly cast another single target control skill, hypnosis. But it still had no effect on me. At the same time, the elemental mage and pyromancer targeted me, launching a barrage of skills. However, all their attacks were blocked by my bone armor, but the glow of the bone armor dimmed significantly, indicating it wouldn't last much longer. Meanwhile, my skeleton mages launched another volley, shattering the knight's shield completely. As the shield broke, the Spirit Summoner's summon let out a roar. A beam of light enveloped each team member, activating the summoner's skill, reset. This reset all their cooldowns. The knight immediately recast Reup's shield, and the barrier reappeared. The audience gasped in shock. This is the Spirit Summoner's reset ability. Except for some special skills, most skills can be reset indefinitely. With this, their team's combat power can increase several times over. Seeing this, my expression turned serious. This meant I couldn't attack them effectively, while they could keep attacking me. I was at a complete disadvantage. I couldn't summon skeleton warriors yet, as they were melee units and easily controlled. If I summoned them now, I might not be able to recall them in time. The only solution was to quickly kill the summon, and end the battle with an explosive skill. As I pondered this, another massive AoE spell appeared, covering the area where my skeleton mages were. I immediately recalled the skeleton mages, causing the rain of fire to miss again. However, the fire rained down on me instead. The flames engulfed me, but my bone armor held strong. The glow of my bone armor continued to dim, on the verge of breaking. Seeing this, the knight thought I was done for, but I simply smiled, raised my hand, and instantly cast another layer of bone armor. The nearly shattered bone armor once again shone brightly. The knight's expression changed drastically. How did his defensive skills cool down? Reset so quickly? What he didn't know was, my bone armor had no cooldown. As long as I had enough mana, I could cast it anytime. To defeat me, they would either have to break my bone armor instantly, and kill me in one hit, or drain my mana completely. With a thought, a swarm of skeleton warriors appeared. As soon as they appeared, they unleashed their skill, Frenzied Strike, on the knight's shield. After using the skill, I immediately recalled them. The entire process took less than a second, leaving no time for the shadow mage to cast any control skills. Meanwhile, the skeleton mage's spells rained down again, causing the knight's shield to waver once more. The summon let out another roar, resetting all 6 teammates' skills again. The mages continued their relentless assault on me, but my bone armor held firm. As the storm of attacks pounded against me, the bone armor dimmed once again, but in the next moment, I cast another bone armor. Seeing this, the paladin couldn't help but exclaim, "What kind of monster is this? How can he have such a broken skill?" Then, his shield shattered completely. He quickly recast his shield, but found that I had already appeared inside it. A sinister smile spread across my face. I raised my hand and cast Slow Curse. In an instant, the movements of all 6 opponents and the summon slowed to a crawl. Before the elder priest could cast Purification to dispel the curse, dozens of skeleton warriors surrounded the summon. At the same time, flames flickered in my palm. Skill, Soul Flame. The summon let out a blood-curdling scream. Then, the skeleton warriors unleashed Frenzied Strike, pounding the summon relentlessly. However, the level 50 summon's vitality was incredibly strong. Even after taking dozens of hits, it still hadn't died. Seeing this, I smiled. The stronger its vitality, the more powerful the corpse explosion would be. I cast Soul Flame again, and the summon finally collapsed with a final scream. I raised my hand and cast Corpse Explosion. A deafening explosion shook the entire arena. The knight's shield was obliterated in an instant. When the heavily injured knight regained his senses, he found that all his teammates had been knocked off the stage. Only he remained on the stage, surrounded by a sea of skeletons. He gave me a thumbs up, and said calmly, "You're the strongest man I've ever seen." With that, he jumped off the stage. The audience erupted in cheers. Lin Moyu won. He actually won the 5th challenge. At level 27, he defeated a team of 6 level 50 mages. His feat will go down in history. The mage floating in the air looked at me with increasing admiration. "You're quite impressive, young man. In the future, you will surely become a pillar of the Shenxia Empire." Then, a bottle of potion and a golden scroll fell into my hands. Advanced Miracle Potion and Shining Advanced Skill Scroll. Both were priceless treasures. As I hesitated whether to continue the challenge, Bai Yuan sent me a message. Know when to stop. So I jumped off the stage, ending the challenge. No one felt it was a pity, because this was already an unprecedented achievement. My name has already spread throughout the entire human world. On my first day back at the academy, I broke the record in the dungeon hall. I even caused the difficulty of the Fire God Palace dungeon to escalate from nightmare to hell level. It turns out that after I successfully challenged the 5th round, the mysterious mage hosting the 5th challenge suddenly appeared before me. First, he revealed his identity as one of the 12 billion in the Divine Empire, and then openly expressed his desire to take me as his disciple. He thought that with his status, I wouldn't possibly refuse, but to his surprise, I refused without hesitation. "Thank you for your kindness, Lord Jinping. But I already have a teacher. Hearing this, Jinping looked astonished. Then tell me, who is your teacher? I want to see if they're worthy of being your mentor. Just then, my communicator suddenly rang. When I saw who was calling, I smiled at Jinping and said, "It's my teacher calling." Hearing this, Jinping smirked and said, "Answer it quickly. Let me see, who's lucky enough to be your master." Soon, the voice of Bai Yiyuan came through the communicator. "Xiaopeng, are you trying to steal my disciple?" Hearing this, Jinping panicked and said, "Lord Bai, it's a misunderstanding. If I had known he was your student, I wouldn't dare to steal him even with 10 lives. Bai Yiyuan snorted coldly on the other end. "Good, you'd better remember that, and tell the others that all of Mo Yu's information must be kept confidential." After saying this, he told me to come see him as soon as I returned to the academy, as he had a new mission for me. The next day, in the small courtyard of Shaojin Academy, Bai Yiyuan patted my shoulder and said with satisfaction, "You did very well this time." Meng Anlin, standing nearby, rolled his eyes and said, "Of course he did. He cleared 5 rounds in one go. This is an unprecedented achievement that no one has ever accomplished before. He's much stronger than you were back then. You only cleared 3 rounds. Bai Yiyuan gritted his teeth in annoyance. This old man really doesn't know how to save face. He cleared his throat and changed the topic. "Lin, you need to reach level 30 as soon as possible. Then I'll take you to a special place. But for now, you can only train in the dungeon hall. Your recent achievements have caused quite a stir, and you might be watched wherever you go, even in the Divine Empire. It's not uncommon for geniuses to be assassinated, so you must be careful. At least within the academy, you'll be safe." After that, I headed to the dungeon hall to train, but the moment I stepped out of the teleportation array, the entire space fell silent. Shi Lin Moyan is back. I knew he was strong, but I didn't expect him to be this powerful. It's like witnessing the birth of a new god-level powerhouse. When I arrived at the dungeon entrance, I was faced with a dilemma. The dungeons here had level restrictions, and I wasn't sure which one was suitable for me at my current level. Just as I was struggling to decide, I ran into Shu Han, who had guided me before. He immediately recommended the level 32 Fire God Temple dungeon. He explained that while this dungeon was similar to regular dungeons, it was more like the large-scale Desert Tyrant dungeon. It had a lot of monsters and a relatively short cooldown time, making it the best choice for repeated practice. Additionally, this dungeon was part of the 5 major elements. With some luck, I could obtain fire element fragments inside. Legend has it that collecting all 5 elemental fragments would grant unimaginable benefits. Checked the dungeon's information and saw that the record holder was a team from Qianlong Academy 5 years ago, who cleared the Hell level dungeon in 8 hours, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. Seeing this, I shook my head slightly. Let me be the one to break this record. Without hesitation, I selected the Hell level dungeon. The monsters inside were flame spirits, and their attributes were average. However, what troubled me was that they weren't physical entities. They left no corpses after death, which meant my corpse explosion skill was completely useless here. I could only rely on my skeletons to clear these small monsters. So, I summoned 20 skeleton warriors and divided them into 5 groups to cover more ground, ensuring no monster was left behind. The skeleton warriors could kill most monsters in one hit, making the dungeon clearing speed terrifyingly fast. But just then, the dungeon began to tremble violently. At the same time, the difficulty of the Fire God Palace dungeon suddenly increased by 1 level. Outside, the adventurers were shocked. "Look, the Fire God Palace now has a hell difficulty." Meanwhile, Ning Tyran, the overseer of the dungeon hall, sensed something unusual. As the controller of the dungeon hall, he was well aware of everything happening inside. Could it be that he actually did it? Is the legend true? Will elemental fragments really drop? Ning Tyran also knew about the legend of elemental fragments, but he knew more than others. To obtain elemental fragments, one must first activate the hell mode of the dungeon. Elemental fragments only drop in hell mode, and even then, it depends on luck. He quickly went to Bai Yiyuan and informed him of the situation. However, Bai Yiyuan's expression remained unchanged, as if he had expected this. Is this strange? With his abilities, activating a hell-level dungeon is normal, but collecting all 5 elemental fragments will be extremely difficult. After all, even we don't know where the Lightning Palace and Holy Light Palace dungeons are. On the other side, I also noticed something was wrong. After the earlier tremors, the flame spirits, which my skeleton warriors could previously kill in 1 hit, now required several strikes to defeat. This made me wonder if something was wrong with the dungeon. Unaware that I was now in a hell difficulty dungeon, with the difficulty doubled, I lost 4 skeleton warriors before reaching the boss's location. The boss was a 10-meter tall lava giant, with strength and constitution stats of 20,000, and immunity to all fire-based attacks. However, this level of challenge wasn't too much pressure for me. I quickly summoned 10 skeleton warriors to draw the boss's aggro. To minimize losses, I cast a slow curse to reduce its movement speed. Then, I summoned 20 skeleton mages. As the skeleton warriors and mages attacked, the boss's health began to drop rapidly. In less than 3 minutes, the boss was defeated, and the system notified me. You have defeated the Fire God Palace boss. You gained 2.16 million experience points. You obtained the Fire God Key. You obtained the Fire God Flower. The Fire God Key can unlock the true Fire God Temple. The Fire God Flower can awaken the Fire God. After the boss died, the ground beneath me began to shake violently. In the next moment, the mountain in front of me transformed into a giant, over 20 meters tall, with molten lava flowing across its body. Its total stats were only 10,000 higher than the previous boss, but it had additional skills and a greatly enhanced fire elemental attribute. I was slightly surprised. I had expected the final boss of the Fire God Palace to be a monster called the Fire God, but this giant seemed to be something else entirely. The giant roared, its voice shaking the entire dungeon. Its massive fists, covered in molten lava, slammed into the ground, creating shockwaves that knocked back my skeleton warriors. Quickly regrouped my forces, summoning more skeleton mages to rain down spells, while the skeleton warriors distracted the giant. Despite its overwhelming size and power, the giant's movements were slow, allowing my skeletons to chip away at its health. But just as I thought the battle was under control, I didn't expect it to be a lava giant. But thinking about the Fire God Key and the Fire God Flower I had just obtained, I realized that this matter wasn't as simple as it seemed. After all, the description on the Fire God Key stated that it could unlock the true Fire God Temple, not the Fire God Palace in the dungeon hall. Perhaps this dungeon was just a prerequisite to unlock the true Fire God Temple. Thinking this, I suddenly felt enlightened. Just then, the lava giant let out a roar, and a fiery beam shot out from its mouth. The skill Death Flame. The beam was incredibly fast, and I was hit before I could react. Fortunately, my bone armor absorbed the attack. Now that I understood the nature of this dungeon, there was no need to hold back. I immediately summoned my entire skeleton army. The skeleton mages unleashed their full power, and in an instant, a barrage of attacks rained down on the giant. Meanwhile, the skeleton warriors climbed onto the giant, attacking it relentlessly. I didn't stay idle either, constantly casting soul fire. In less than 2 minutes, the lava giant fell to the ground with a roar of unwillingness. The system notified me, you have defeated the lava giant. Experience plus 3.8 million. You obtained the lava staff. You obtained the flame crystal fragment. The lava staff, a gold tier weapon, increased all attributes by 500, boosted mage type skills by 45%, and increased fire-based skills by an additional 20%. The flame crystal fragment could be fused into a flame crystal. As I left the dungeon, 3 bell chimes echoed through the dungeon hall, signaling that I had broken the dungeon record. However, many adventurers weren't too surprised, as I had already set multiple records in the recent past. They were used to it by now, but when they saw that I had cleared the hell difficulty, they were shocked. Damn, Lin actually cleared the hell difficulty. Was it him who caused the Fire God Palace dungeon to upgrade? I've only heard rumors, but it seems to be true. Lin is truly amazing. Here it comes. My corpse explosion skill has finally received a historic upgrade. Even my bone armor has been significantly enhanced. It turns out that after I upgraded the Fire God Palace dungeon and set a new record in hell difficulty, my skills received a massive boost. However, when I arrived at Bai Shen's courtyard, Ning Tyran glared at me angrily. Was it you who upgraded the Fire God Palace dungeon? Bai Shen rolled his eyes at him and said to me, don't mind him. He's just jealous that you're stronger than he was at your age. I nodded slightly and handed the flame crystal fragment, the Fire God Key, and the Fire God Flower to Bai Shen. Bai Shen examined them carefully and confirmed, this is indeed a flame crystal. Meng Anwen, who had been silent, suddenly opened his eyes, looked at the flame crystal. So this is how it is. The legend is correct, but not entirely. I was confused by his words and didn't understand what legend he was referring to. Then, Bai Shen explained my confusion. The legend says that combining the 5 elemental fragments can grant unimaginable benefits. But the truth is, when the 5 elemental fragments are fused, they form an elemental godstone, and the elemental godstone can give a professional a chance to undergo a second job advancement. You should know that high-level legendary professionals require 2 job advancements. However, achieving the second job advancement is extremely difficult. Even with countless treasures and methods, the success rate is still very low. It's said that the elemental godstone can significantly increase the chances of a second job advancement, increasing the success rate to around 30%. Hearing this, I was shocked. If the legend was true, then the elemental godstone was indeed an extraordinary item, but such a thing would naturally be extremely difficult to obtain. Bai Yiyuan continued, of the 5 elemental dungeons, 3 are located within Shajin Academy, but the lightning and holy light dungeons are almost unknown to anyone. The legend of the elemental godstone was spread by a professional long ago. It's said that he achieved 2 job advancements, but it's been so long that it's impossible to verify. At this moment, Ning Tyran suddenly spoke up. Even if the legend is false, the elemental fragments are still incredibly valuable. You should run the Fire God Palace dungeon a few more times to gather more flame crystal fragments. Hearing this, I immediately understood what he was implying. Don't worry, sir, I'll make sure to get an extra flame crystal for Ake. Seeing how cooperative I was, his usually stern face lit up with a smile. Meanwhile, Bai Yiyuan turned his attention to the Fire God Key and the Fire God Flower. In the next moment, his expression turned serious. So there's more to this. Meng Anwen also seemed to realize something. This is quite unexpected. Where could the true Fire God Temple be? Ning Tyran stroked his beard and said, I'm curious about how powerful the Fire God really is. Bai Yiyuan then said, keep these items for now. They might be useful in the future. This meant they weren't needed at the moment, and whether they would be useful later was uncertain. Even God-level professionals are human and can't know everything, but I wasn't disappointed. Knowing the value of the flame crystal was enough. I decided to run the Fire God Palace dungeon a few more times to gather at least 3 complete flame crystals, 1 for myself, 1 for my sister, and 1 for Ake. However, even if flame crystal fragments dropped every time, I would still need to run the dungeon at least 15 times. After waiting for my skeletons in the summoning space to fully recover, I returned to the dungeon hall and spent points to reset the cooldown for the Fire God Palace dungeon. To my surprise, the cost was significantly lower than before. It seemed Ning Tyran, as the deputy hallmaster, had given me special privileges. Just then, the dungeon portal trembled, and a group led by Bai Lisheng emerged from it. They were covered in wounds and looked utterly defeated. As soon as they appeared, healers rushed to treat them. They had thought that since the Fire God Palace dungeon had just upgraded to Hell difficulty, they could set a new record with their team's strength, but they hadn't expected Hell difficulty to be far beyond their capabilities. Fortunately, they escaped quickly, or they would have all perished inside. At that moment, my voice came from behind them. Excuse me, I need to enter the dungeon. Already frustrated, Bai Lisheng snapped. What's the rush? Go to another dungeon. Hearing this, my tone turned cold. Are you looking for another beating? Bai Lisheng turned around angrily. What did you say? But when he saw it was me, his expression changed instantly. It's you. His eyes were filled with hatred, but also a hint of fear. The fear stemmed from Bai Shen. The incident from last time was still fresh in his mind. When he noticed Bai Shen standing behind me, his face paled. Bai Shen was not someone he could afford to provoke. He quickly signaled his team to make way. Without hesitation, I selected Hell difficulty and entered the dungeon. After I entered, Bai Lisheng quickly said, check what difficulty he entered. One of his teammates used a dungeon detection scroll, and they soon found out I had chosen Hell difficulty. I had entered the Hell difficulty. Seeing this, Bai Lisheng's expression turned extremely grim. I want to see if he can actually clear the dungeon. We'll wait for him outside and discuss our strategy for the dungeon. Meanwhile, to save time, I immediately summoned all my skeletons. As soon as I entered the dungeon, nearly 300 skeletons appeared, and they began to sweep through the dungeon with overwhelming force. 3 minutes later, I finally reached level 28. My summoning space increased by 10 slots, bringing the total to 280. The skeletons also leveled up. And now, the skeleton warrior's attributes had all reached 24,000. The skeleton mage's mental strength had even reached 48,000. To my surprise, my corpse explosion skill had finally reached level 4. With my talent bonuses, the skill's range increased to 120 meters, and its damage was now 750% of the corpse's health. This was a significant improvement compared to before. My bone armor had also improved, increasing from 60,000 constitution to 84,000 constitution. This gave me enough confidence to face the Hell difficulty boss. Soon, all the small monsters in the dungeon were cleared by the skeletons, leaving only the final boss, the lava giant. But now, the giant was trembling slightly, as if my power had instilled fear in him. I summoned the remaining 10 skeleton warriors to minimize losses. Having fought him before, it took me less than 2 minutes to defeat him this time. Once again, I obtained a flame crystal fragment and a gold tier weapon, the lava crusher. At the same time, 3 loud bell chimes echoed through the dungeon hall, signaling that I had set a new dungeon record. Bai Lisheng's subordinate exclaimed, Boss, it's Lin Moyu. He's set a new dungeon record. Hearing this, Bai Lisheng jumped up in disbelief. What? He just entered the dungeon. How could he set a new record so quickly? He thought I had exited the Fire God Palace dungeon and entered a lower difficulty dungeon instead. With a look of disbelief, he rushed into the dungeon hall. The area in front of the Fire God Palace dungeon was crowded, and everyone looked shocked. I told you, since Lin entered the dungeon a second time, he was bound to set a new record. Yeah, this second record is truly unbreakable. At this moment, the dungeon displayed my record, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 13 seconds. Then, many people turned their attention to Bai Lisheng. I heard Vice Dean Bai Lisheng just came out of the dungeon, but he looked utterly defeated. Before entering, he even boasted about breaking Lin's record. Now, it just seems laughable. Hearing this, Bai Lisheng felt disheartened. He left the dungeon hall with a dejected expression, as if he had suffered a great blow. While everyone was discussing, I used points to reset the dungeon cooldown and entered the dungeon again. My hidden class, the Spirit Necromancer, had finally awakened. New skills. One was a passive defense skill that greatly increased physical resistance, and another was a curse skill that significantly weakened the enemy's attack power. I even awakened the Lich General, who could command an army of undead. As a result, my strength skyrocketed. After breaking the Fire God Palace dungeon record again, I continued to clear the dungeon over a dozen times, and my level finally reached 30. When Bai Shen found out, he immediately summoned me to his courtyard. He patted my shoulder with satisfaction and said, Not bad. You went from level 28 to 30 in just 2 days. Your speed isn't worse than mine back in the day. Ning Tyran sneered, with a hint of disdain. It took you 18 days to go from level 28 to 30 back then. And you still have the nerve to boast about it. Hearing this, Bai Yuan's face darkened. He glared at Ning Tyran. You old man. How dare you expose me in front of my student? But Ning Tyran just snorted coldly and continued, boasting in front of your own student. You really have no shame. Ning Tyran's tone remained calm, showing no respect for Bai Yuan's pride. Bai Yuan waved his hand in frustration. Fine, fine. I won't argue with you. Then he turned to me and said, Now that you've reached level 30, you can learn new skills. How many skill scrolls have you prepared? I told him I had prepared 200 scrolls, but Meng Anwen shook his head. 200 scrolls aren't enough. As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Yiyuan waved his hand, and a large pile of skill scrolls flew over, instantly forming a small mountain. Here are 1,000 skill scrolls. Use these first. If it's not enough, let me know. Hearing this, I was stunned. Adding my 200 scrolls, I now had 1,200 skill scrolls. Was that still not enough? After all, when I reached level 20, I only used 16 scrolls. Could there really be so many skills to choose from at level 30? Bai Yiyuan explained, you might think 1,200 scrolls are a lot, but awakening all the basic skills isn't easy. Other classes can use skill books to learn skills, or rely on existing knowledge to master them, but your class is new. There are no skill books or references. You can only rely on skill scrolls, and skill scrolls have limitations. The more you use, the lower the chance of awakening a skill. Use them 10 at a time, but don't worry, you have me. Bai Yiyuan patted his chest confidently. I nodded and began using the skill scrolls. As I infused my mental energy into the scrolls, they emitted a brilliant light that enveloped me. After a moment, the light faded, but nothing happened. This happened 5 times in a row. No skill was awakened. Only then did I realize how difficult it was to awaken skills. Finally, on the 10th attempt, I successfully awakened my first skill, a passive skill called Physical Resistance. It increased resistance to physical attacks by 10% for both myself and my summons. This skill was similar to Elemental Resistance. With my talent bonuses, my resistance to physical attacks increased by 400%, effectively reducing physical damage by 4 times. And this was just at level 1. Once fully leveled, the improvement would be even greater. Bai Yiyuan asked curiously, what skill did you awaken? So, I explained the passive skill's effects to him. Bai Yiyuan nodded in satisfaction. That's an excellent defensive passive skill. I continued using the skill scrolls, this time using 20 at once. On the 600th scroll, the awakening light appeared again. I gained the skill damage curse. It curses enemies within a 1 meter range, increasing all damage they take by 1%. For 1 minute, with my talent bonuses, the range increased to 40 meters, and the damage increase rose to 40%. For 40 minutes, it was actually a curse-type skill. I was thrilled, as curse-type skills were incredibly useful. Bai Yiyuan and the others also realized how powerful this skill was, as they could sense the dangerous aura emanating from the red light. Next, I started using 200 scrolls at a time. This time, I succeeded on the first attempt. I gained the skill Bone Spikes. It releases bone spikes to attack enemies, with the number and power determined by the skill level and my mental strength. At first, I thought this was a dark-type attack skill. But then I reconsidered. Based on my current class, this skill likely belonged to the Bone series, similar to my Bone Armor. It seemed to be a part of the same system. This was just the beginning.